I'm gonna punch a bird. Yee!
Flying types are super effective against fighting sword.
So the opening has evolved, I see.
We
Why the fuck does my water bottle smell like potatoes? What the fuck?
That is our new opening.
Just please not.
Why
does my water bottle smell like potatoes? What a non sequitur. It's my favorite one so far.
Okay.
Okay.
So last time we went to the Elder Council at the gathering. Esther warned us before we went in to treat the elders with respect. May or may not have been looking at somebody in particular. It was maybe suggested but denied, but we don't know. We do extend the invitation to peace talks because it might be a bad impression if we don't. They agreed to send, I think it was 4 Genasi, a guard, a seeker, a matron, and an empath as representatives. And one Archdruid is of the Genasi and is actually there, napping on the rafters on a surfboard. In the meantime, Ashta also spots another person of interest, a Water Genasi Planewalker Ranger, who is the realm defender for that school. He focuses on protecting mystics. So anyhow, we mentioned this whole peace thing to the Desert Archdruid, and he goes, okay, how serious is this? And we go, very, and he goes, great, alright, everybody, let's go ahead and put the country on trade lockdown if the other Archdruids won't go to the meeting or respond.
Let's siege the country.
More or less.
In a way. At least give them something to think about.
Let's threaten the possibility of siege.
Yep.
Let's cut them off from their main defense against the giants.
Mm-hmm. In the meantime, the ranger asks how Esther survived something called the Psyworm. She didn't see it. Not for herself. She seems to have lost her abilities a different way than some. But one tried to drag off Aquarius's soul. 3 guesses who that's linked to. Just overall. Apparently all level 20 beings with those titles, with things like Realm Defender, Glimmer, Archdruid, etc., are actually barred from planar travel. It doesn't seem to care about people who don't have those titles. So that's an interesting little tidbit. Also, apparently this Horizon Walker can manifest a planar warrior, and Ashton now has a tiny shoulder angel. Esther and Fervis went in private to ask I believe the head matron, about the library. Esther wants to see her matriarchal lines. They are placed under a magical oath not to speak of the library to anyone unapproved of. The rest of the party is okay for this. Apparently, nobody's been there in a while because a powerful lich has taken over the library thousands of years before.
Yep. Things are never simple in this campaign.
Yeah. So that's gonna be fun. But Esther and Fervis should be able to find it, lead us to it, something, and then I guess we're the exterminators. We're the cleaning crew. Anyhow, after that,
volunteer Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm. After that, the Desert Archdruid got a hold of the Dream Archdruid and got them together, and we are dream contacting all the other Archdruids. It is time to talk to them.
Yep.
Now, refresh my memory. I didn't put it in my notes. Was it just Rosalind getting in Dream Contact, or was this a round table? Good.
This is a round
table. It's all of us.
Good. I didn't think it was, but then I had a moment of doubt, because, yeah, dream spells. Okay.
I'm loving these memes.
Yeah.
Alright. So, as we pick up on today's session, as through the linking of hands of the Desert and the Dream Archdruid, you appear at once. Scenario very similar to when you first commingle with someone. Which, by the way, as a reminder, that wasn't mentioned in the notes. Both the Dreams and Desert Archdruid have fame.
Yes.
So, as you appear as pillars of sand in front of each of the Archdruids, at least those that are still alive. We are going to just go down the list, and while technically these are all happening at once, because we don't have Fane as actual people, we will be doing this sequentially. So, first, you actually appear at the first two places we'll acknowledge, at least. The first of which is at the base of Peduncle, the ruined city, where just for a moment you all appear there, and you see both of the Archdruids nod their head towards what's essentially become the symbol of the passing of the former Great Archdruid, and a secondary one that nods its head towards what you guys recognize as the General's Tent of the Goblin Army. And the two Archdruids with you explain that these two are Archdruids who have already died, both of which to this war. And while they can't get their opinion, they would like to at least acknowledge their respect to the dead Archdruids. But the first living Archdruid that you appear next to is the General in Citadel. He is once more sitting at the desk that he always does in his one-way glass meeting area, once more using a B to use it as a pen.
Hi.
He looks up at the columns of sand that rise in front of him, and he stands up and nods towards the two Archdruids, nods towards all of you. He says, is this a summoning, or...
I trust you received our message?
Yes, the one about peace talks?
Yes. We're trying to gather replies.
Well, it'll save me the time. And he picks up the piece that he was writing on the desk, looks at it for a moment, signs the name at the bottom, and just one big word, he shows it to you, just says yes.
We'll be in contact with a time and place.
Please do.
We believe that we'll be using the island that we won as neutral ground.
Something symbolic about using Jack's old place. Oh, well. Oh, let me guess. You're using those two's sequential contacting? Or, sorry, synchronous contacting?
I believe if that's what they call it.
Alright. Well, I'll remain here if you need my opinion or my advice on something. I've got about an hour to kill. Again. So, Esther, as a reminder...
Are you actually saying
this? Yeah, are you actually asking that question, Esther?
No! It's just me being a dumbass in chat.
Okay, just want to make sure. So the Archdruids kind of nod and acknowledge the Mountain Archdruid's response, and we will shift to the Swamp Archdruid, who I don't believe you guys have met. So, 1 second while I get their specific description.
Fucking heart, could you imagine saying that out loud? This dude so has
Would
the
not surprise
twink.
me in the slightest.
No, but we're not gonna do this.
Alright.
You know, we're in a dream spell. I wouldn't be surprised.
Sort of. It's a form of dream spell. It's kind of like dream mixed with scrying.
Yeah, that's fair, but still.
But yeah, you guys are looking at them in their actual place.
Okay.
Scrying. Yeah. This isn't a dream, this is actually reality, and you are appearing as actual pillars of sand in front of each of them.
Okay, interesting. Nice.
Yep. God damn it, Ty. Alright, so, as you appear in front of the Swamp Archdruid, she sits seemingly meditated, buried almost up to the neck in this bog and vines. Yeah, mud, kind of like one of those mud baths you see on TV. She is lizard folk, with these sharp reptilian features. Her eyes are covered in scales and don't actually have a full eyelid, instead of just the clear one that you see on snakes. and she has this tall yellow and gold frill that runs down her back that she seems to have shaped around her Archdruid breastplate, but you can't see poking through the mud. Then she opens up the clear eyelids to look at you, kind of acknowledging each of you. She says, "Why have you contacted me, old friend?" And you see the Dream Archdruid kind of wave his hand, and the Desert Archdruid kind of nods and says, "Well, apparently these folks sent you a letter, and they want your opinion on peace talks. So, take it away, Zodiac Information Squad."
We apologize for intruding like this.
It seems this is urgent, so please continue.
We believe that we sent you the letter. We were uncertain if it had been received. And we need responses. The peace talks can only be arranged if everybody agrees to do so. So far, these two have agreed, as has the Mountain Archdruid. We are currently in talks with all of the others.
Well, and you folks believe these peace talks will do well by you?
Yes.
And assuming I'm thinking of the correct letter, you are hosting these peace talks, yes?
Yes. You may have seen the island, or heard of it, flying about in the sky.
Yes.
That
Though
would
it
be
has
the
not
location.
come to the west often, I have heard of it. We should visit the Shifting Isles. I think you'll find we are kin in terms of how we subsist on the flows of fluid.
I would look forward to that as an education.
But that is for the future. I will require transport if I am to be at these peace talks, and, well, at least a week's warning, such that I can concoct adequate protections for my land.
I believe that we can arrange for such.
Right. And I have one requirement as well. You prove to me that your island, which is said to be the meeting place of an active peace, is one of harmony, not one of autocracy. I want to assure this is no strong arming into peace, such that you can take power instead, and that you are not some invader meddling in our affairs.
I can assure you that's not going to be hard to prove.
Then, when you have a date, have a sending spell or dream message of your preference brought to me, as letters don't always survive in the swamps.
We will do so.
As well, your island. It is governed by you, but the power still rests in the land, yes?
Yes. In a way, we ourselves are merely tenants.
Alright, go ahead and give me a persuasion check, Rosalind.
I'm thinking
And
of the
me and-
monarch, if that's not
Yeah,
clear.
she's not
Oh, no.
wrong.
Yeah, that's why it's
Alright.
persuasion.
Okay. Just to make sure that you know where I'm coming from.
Yep,
Yeah,
you
that's a bad
technically
roll.
have advantage because you believe yourself and you're, I assume, using the scepter.
I mean, I assume it's honor, so...
Yeah.
Dream spell notwithstanding.
Oh, and again, this is a weird version of a spell.
Okay, 26 then.
You see this kind of a reptilian smile. A great number of teeth are splayed to you. Very Venom style. It says, that is a good phrase. Tenants of the land. Very well. Contact me with an update when you may. I must meditate again.
In
Your
that
Archdruid.
case, we will leave you in peace.
She smiles and closes the clear eyelids once more. You see behind the eyelids the pupils dilate massively, and her vision goes elsewhere. And the Archdruid nods, and the pillars of sand in that area collapse. Next up, you appear actually very close by Peduncle. And let me just pull up the description for this one. There. You see yourself looking closely at what seems to be just a standard human, wearing the simple breastplate of the Archdruids, and standing in what you guys recognize as the underground ruins of the root system of Peduncle. You see he's heading some sort of magical reconstruction going on. A number of the more nocturnal races, Drow, Durgar, other sunlight-sensitive creatures, are all mostly in Druid regalia, and are basically clearing out the destruction wrought by the elder elementals that were summoned here. And as he turns to you all and looks puzzled for a second, you see him pick out the Dreams Archdruid and just goes, "Hey, Baron, nice to see you. And if I'm not mistaken, this is, the Desert Archdruid?" He waves and looks at the rest of you. "And I don't quite recognize this crew." "Well, I'm the Archdruid, Zakaria. Can I help you?"
Zakara?
Zakaria. Zakaria.
Zachariah.
Intentionally pronounced Zakaria, but yes.
Zakaria. Okay. He is the...
Oh, you have no ground to stand on there.
Yes, I do. Everything is pronounced perfectly correctly.
Correctly. Not
Alright.
acceptably.
Anyhow, he is the Archdruid of... He's the replacement of the old Archdruid, so he's Shepherd?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's how I'm kind of taking notes, so...
Yep, and roll a history check, Rosalind.
Hooray. 18!
That's enough. In terms of kind of druidic achievement and culture, he's pretty well known to be a prodigy of druidic magic. He basically learned to be a druid and got certified, and within the year was one of the right-hand men of the old primary Archdruid. So he's almost a minor celebrity. He's maybe 23, 24 years old.
Oh, he's baby. What the fuck?
Yeah, he's really young for an Archdruid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, he's... I'm older than... Esther's older than him. I don't like that.
We have Furvis.
Welcome to Ziggy's life.
Yeah.
We have Furvis.
Yeah.
Still don't like it.
Alright.
So he looks to you and says,
Well,
assuming introductions are
yeah,
done, he says,
introductions are done.
"Yep. How can I help you all then?"
We have been trying to send word among the Archdruids. There's a chance for peace with the plains, but we need to arrange a conversation.
Oh, that was... Which letter was this? Sorry, I've gotten a few letters like that. Is this from that floating island?
Yes, it would have been...
Okay. I didn't realize this one held water. You'd have to forgive me. We've gotten a lot of... well, at least myself, I've gotten a lot of messages pushing towards peace, and while I've been trying to build a city worthy of those kind of peace talks, but apparently it's been done for me.
We will merely provide a venue, a location that is neutral in as many respects as possible. It's an island in the sky. It's not technically part of Panacea. And I believe
Fair
that I believe that if we can get the Archdruids and a few of the Glimmers, if they're on board, perhaps some other persons of interest, the Genasi tribes are sending representatives. We're hoping to resolve this without any more loss.
Very well. And what factions don't you have representatives from? Do you have the Prince on board?
We do.
Wow. Okay. What about the rebels?
We have not reached out to them. We're a little bit afraid of muddying the waters with too many facets. Given that they aren't technically part of the conflict with the plains. Merely
No, but they are
another...
representatives of the land. And putting it frankly, they have a few glimmers who are supporting them. I'm willing to go. But on the condition that there's some representation from the Rebel Alliance. Like it or not, they are denizens of the land and their citizens are a part of this.
Very well. Then we will make overtures.
Alright. Well, assuming you can prove to me that condition and they arrive on that day as well, I will sit in the meeting, but by the way, give me a date and I will show up. And if there's, if my requirements have been met, I will sit and I will converse and hopefully we can petition for peace.
We know that we're going to require... Sorry.
That's alright. Will you need times to set up magical wards? Will you need assistance? I hear one of the Glimmers is quite good at that kind of thing.
We're familiar.
Good.
We are going to need a little bit of time to make arrangements. One of your fellows required a minimum of a week forewarning, so it wouldn't be immediate. But we're hoping it will be soon.
Good. Good. Well, I guess I'm going to be here, most likely. I'm rebuilding the city, and kick around here long enough, you'll find me. I'm sure you can send a messenger this way if you have a flying castle that runs across the land as fast as you can.
If you're available to dream spells, we do have access to that, on our own, without Hyperion here.
Oh, very well. Well, my sleep schedule is a bit
Unusual.
out of line right now. Yes, rebuilding a capital city built out of trees is kind of night and day type of work, but
Well, then
in
perhaps
a worst
ascending
case
spell.
scenario, yes. And am I correct in assuming that at least one of you has had contact with that phoenix?
Everyone points to Esther.
He smiles and says,
Yeah.
"You know where I am. When the phoenix every time the phoenix rises, I'm there to keep watch. So if you need to talk to me, then feel free."
I do need to speak to you in that sense. An arrangement is being made to remove the phoenix from this plane and bring it back to where it belongs.
Oh, thank God.
I've been speaking to, honestly, there's no sense in hiding this. I've been speaking to one of the Zodiacs of the Plane of Fire who's on more neutral and less aggressive ground, in a sense. He's actually attending the gathering as an ambassador. We had a very heavy debate. It was not fun. But regardless, we're hopefully going to be removing the phoenix from this location.
Perfect. That's actually a great thing to hear. It's kind of difficult to rebuild a tree city when a being of primordial fire is sitting on top of it.
He is rather quite lovely. I mean, the phoenix is very polite.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, when phoenixes are reborn every time, they explode in flames and set everything around them on fire.
No, that's, again, relatable in complete honesty. But
I couldn't say. I haven't quite had the experience yet.
be fair, that's
So that's a
rather
yes.
relatable attitude.
What?
We should be getting on and speaking to the others.
Of course. Again, keep in mind, it's happening synchronously.
Yes.
This is all happening at the same time.
Yep. But excuses.
Yep. He kind of smiles, and we'll switch to the next one, which is the one you guys have been waiting for.
We're good.
As you appear once more in front of a snow-white Aarakocra,
Time to
seeming
cook a fucking chicken.
kind of confused for a second as a pillar of sand rises from on top of a glacier. And he kind of looks over there and sees the group of you and you see like a tongue click beneath the beak. He straightens up, says, "Well, how do you do?"
Fine. How about yourself?
Good, good. Nice to see that I'm not being represented falsely today.
Right. To be completely fair, sorry about that.
I don't think you understand what to be completely fair means. You're aware that by impersonating an Archdruid, you are committing not just a crime of law, but a crime of social dignity, let's say?
I doubt we did anything that your dignity could not handle.
No, but
Regardless, we have something
It's
of far greater
you would know
importance.
technically it's treason.
I mean, you can arrest me, but I don't think handcuffs will work with sand.
Esther, a moment. There's something more important than that.
I would hope so. Otherwise, this is the most complex apology I've ever seen.
We're trying to arrange peace talks.
Are they working? And with whom?
With the Zodiacs. Or at least the parts of them that would be open to such. However, we cannot simply have one side of the table seated. We need both.
So you've managed to bring the leader of the Zodiacs to the peace talks table, then how?
Not the leader, but their law.
Explain.
The sole... We have been informed that the absolute leadership is bent upon this war. However, there are others that would prefer peace for their planes and their people. And the keeper of the law, their judge, was the one that opened the possibility of these peace talks.
Ah, so this is the much acclaimed Libra, I assume.
Yes, there will be others as well. But it is for Libra to arrange those, and for us to reach out to Archdruids and some other powerful persons, influences upon this country and this plane, to sit on the other side of the table. You are one of those who are required.
He kind of narrows his eyes at you. You say citizens. Who else going to be representing?
We need all of the surviving Archdruids. I believe that Orzer of the Glimmers has accepted, or at least is aware, of the arrangements. There will be representatives of the Genasi.
See his mouth kind of twist at that one. Say, how come? They, if we're speaking legally here, are citizens to be represented by their Archdruid, are they not? As all citizens of each major geographical area is.
They have their own society, and it deserves
As-
to be respected as such.
As does every major civilization here.
Think
You
of it
have the
this-
Archdruid of the desert here, don't you?
Yes, but he is an Archdruid.
Yes. The ones who legally are in charge of this country.
Regardless, we have invited a handful of representatives of peoples who are, in a way, unique bridges between the material and the elemental planes.
Alright.
Of note, the Shepherd Archdruid has spoken with us and has required for his part representatives to be invited from the rebellion. We have not made these invitations as of yet. However, we will be doing so in respect to his request.
Interesting. So,
Addition-
two separate groups, neither of which have legally are already being represented have a secondary place to sit at the table, yes?
Legally, already represented, but in spirit, perhaps not.
Additionally, if they are to be already represented, that would leave those certain societies under the jurisdiction of those Archdruids. And if those Archdruids don't seem to have a problem with it, I don't understand why anyone else should.
Well, see, that's why I bring it up, as I believe you should know this, Ashta. I am the denizen, the Archdruid, of the area claimed by the rebel. I don't see why they need another representative.
Because there are people with different political opinions than yours, and perhaps their voice might be important, even though you cannot see that.
Oh, well, I acknowledge that their voice is important. They are not the ones who are being assaulted. The Druidic lands are.
And yet they live upon those lands.
Just
Yes.
as my people live on those lands, and my tribe was one that was attacked.
Allow me to say
Yes.
this much. If you were truly representative of those people, then you would be one of them. And yet you are not. As such, they will have a place at the table, as the shepherd Archdruid has asked.
A rebellion inherently implies some sort of dissatisfaction with the current representation.
Yes. That I am quite aware of, Ashta. Thank you very much.
If nothing else, it's a chance to clear the air.
Interesting turn of phrase, as I've tried that a number of times, and rather than have a conversation with me, and who knows, perhaps even try to change things in this country, they tried to assassinate me. So,
But they will not have a chance to do so in this case. There will be a great many eyes upon all of you. You'll all be present together.
yes. And a great number of targets for them to attack if they so wish.
There'll be wards put in place against that.
Yes. By whom? I want a detailed list of the security and who will be protecting everyone.
Would you trust Orizer if he were to assess this and give
I
you
would
that
trust
list?
Orizer as one of a few to assess this.
What do you need? What is the list? Give me the requirements.
Well, first of all, the Archdruid of the Mountains, the general, as is this is part of his jurisdiction.
He has agreed.
He's already attending.
But is he assessing your defenses?
We can make the request.
Good. Orizer as well would be a good one. As well, I would like the Inquisitor from the general.
I
He
hardly
is a
imagine
master
the
of
general would
subterfuge.
come without him.
Well, you'd be surprised oftentimes that he has to leave that mountaintop. He leaves the Inquisitor behind.
It's possible the Inquisitor may not be part of the peace talks themselves.
That is all right. I just want him to observe the defenses. He is one of the greater masters of subterfuge that we have, that we trust. Speaking of
Attend
which,
then?
oh, I have one more. I want at least two, at least present, high-level clerics, able to revive at least one of the Archdruids in a worst-case scenario.
I believe we can provide one.
Well, I ask at least two.
Find another.
Preferably one of the Enlightened. And finally, as you are speaking with the Desert Society, I assume you're aware of the Horizon Walker who persists there?
We've met.
Yes.
Him. He is one of the greater protections we have against elementals.
As a personal curiosity, can Astra throw an insight?
Go for it.
He's purely wondering if he's saying that just to throw shade at Astra.
Go for it.
15.
You know enough and can read him well enough that he has no trust in you, period.
Yep.
He has a specific problem with Orion, and as such sees you as his student.
Mhm.
And therefore not particularly trustworthy, or at least not to his level of skill that he would like.
Okay. We can make arrangements.
It's interesting how you say that.
Say what?
That he's one of the greatest protections you have against elementals, while he himself is a water genasi.
Yes. While you may think me prejudiced, regardless, I'm not so inane as to think that the genasi are elementals. I'm not stupid. It's easy magic to prove that they're not. But, like it or not, if you want someone who's able to defend against a Zodiac, the guardian of the borders between the planes is probably a good one to have around, and he is one that we specifically trust. As well, he is one of those representatives of the genasi, if you do not trust the Archdruids to do so alone. Don't see why this should be a problem.
Is never denied. Now, with your requirements met, will you attend or will you not?
If my requirements will be met, then yes.
All right, wonderful, fantastic. Next.
We'll be in touch.
Asher's going to just one more thing. And as a point for the future, any issue you might have with the rebellion and them having a representative there can be taken up with the out of character. It was one of the swamps, right?
No, Shepherd.
Shepherd. Take it up with the Archdruid, the Shepherd Archdruid, as they are one who believes they should be represented here, and if this is a cause you believe is worth attending, then easing those out amongst each other would probably be helpful as well.
Yes, I have my own issues with our young and up-and-coming Shepherd Archdruid, who, rather than trying to fight the current issues and try to broker peace himself, is rebuilding a fallen city. But don't worry, I'll discuss with him as well.
There's nothing stopping you from having a conversation after things are done.
Yes, Ashta, I don't need you to explain to me how adults converse. Thank you.
There's a smile. And he's like, alright. Say hi to Orion for me.
As Ashton disappears, he just looks at the rest of you with a raised eye ridge.
Is there any other requirements that you would like to be met?
Proof that my requirements are met first, and then you will get my answer, whether it's yes or no. I would like to have the defenses assessed, and then I want the assured from each of them separately. But do that, and I will at least attend.
Do ask, please and thank you, that if you do attend, watch your choice of words in front of my people. Though we are not seen as elementals, our blood is as such.
He just puts a hand up. He says, I'm aware that many people don't agree with me, and see my adhering to legal contracts as over the top. Again, I'm not foolish enough to commit a social or political faux pas at a peace talks where the focus is the Zodiacs. I simply questioned why the Genasi needed their own representatives, not why, if they should be there at all.
Understood. Have a good day. Goodbye.
And he nods to you as he nods to Xena's response as well. And you see the Archdruid just kind of shrug and give him a wave and disappear. Alright. And next up we have the Coast Archdruid.
Man on surfboard number 2.
Steve, would Vlad know him?
No, he's of the northern coast of the archipelagos.
Oh, northern coast. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
actually, this is actually one of the ones that you're probably most likely to recognize, as you actually see an Aasimar in the middle of the ocean, as sand pillars rise around him. He kind of looks around like, oh, what's hanging?
Is he just standing there, or what?
Yeah, he's just standing on the water like Jesus.
Three little surfer dudes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's my dad.
The druid, the Archdruid of the desert kind of goes, what's up? And he goes, what's up? And you see the German Archdruid go, what's up? Yep, basically.
Water.
I like to imagine they have like a 7-second long handshake.
Oh my god.
They try to, and the wet hand on sand doesn't work out very well.
Homies.
Yeah, they kind of do each other, and you guys have to kind of sit there for like 5 minutes.
Respectfully.
Yep.
I think I don't know that one has a translation. I suspect that's a
It's
borrowed term.
You know, like the hang 10 symbol with your hand? It's that. But you wait for like 5 minutes as you kind of have that awkward scenario where when your parents see someone that you've never met before, and you just have to kind of stand there while they go through the greetings, like, "Oh, how are the kids?" and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most surfer dude California version of that you've ever seen.
Or just sitting there like,
Yep, kind of just waiting, and he turns to the rest of you like, "Oh, right. So, what's up? Ashta, heard a lot about you. I'm a big fan of Orion's work. Seems like he trained you pretty well. Heard good things about you. Representing the archipelagos. What's up? So what do you need?"
I'm just gonna turn to Ashton like, well.
he just kind of pinches his nose for a second as everyone looks at him and is like,
You got
okay,
it, man. You can speak now.
so we're currently working in peace talks with dealing with the Zodiac issue, and we're looking to get on every single Archdruid.
Oh, thank God. I've been trying to get into the plane of water to talk to them forever. The last time I tried, they punched me so hard I ended up in the ethereal plane and then I had to pop back to here. It was a nightmare. I was gone for like a week.
We're looking to
Sir,
have it on the
actually-
neutral land of the island that you've probably seen flying around for a while now.
Is that island that you guys picked out of the... Well, not the bottom of the ocean, but like way out into the ocean?
It was floating above it.
Yeah. Did you guys see me waving when you went across?
Nope.
Oh,
I knew I should have done cloud right.
Got right.
Didn't have ready that day. Sorry, man.
wait.
Yeah, I did a whole tidal wave. You guys didn't see it.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're walking on water. How are you doing that?
The spell that a spell that lets me walk on water.
No,
Sure
it's
you
just
can
my.
learn that spell, sir.
No,
Yeah.
my dad does that.
Oh, sweet.
I
Who's
thought
your
it
dad?
was inherited.
No,
Vladimir, you.
remember this. He's an Asimar, not a Genasi you're talking to.
I know. That's why she was like, She's never seen anybody else who's not a water genasi do that.
Ah, okay.
Hence why she's like, how did you learn that?
Yeah, and he goes like, no, man, I do it myself. It's just a cool spell.
When you attend the peace talks, can you please teach me?
What kind of magic do you do? Do you do magic?
I do wizard magic?
I mean, I can explain the concept to you, but like, I'm not much of a wizard myself, and don't have the noggin for it. And yeah, I think you have seen Xenia cast Water Walk.
Yeah.
I do not remember, I'll be honest with you.
To be fair, you'll see Xenia turn to a whale. So like, there's a lot that's going on with Xenia.
Yeah.
Anyways, am I to take your trial and error with the plane of water as a want to join these talks?
Oh yeah, I don't want people to attack the archipelagos. We're like a bunch of islands. If the water plane comes to attack us, we're sunk, man.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm very well with cancer, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is it terminal?
Oh, no.
Fucking hell. No, it's in the name of the Zodiac.
It's a Zodiac.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah, like
Yes,
crab,
she's a
but not
Yeti.
actually.
She's a Yeti? Oh, my best friend's a Yeti.
Sure.
No, seriously, he is.
Jesus Christ. Will you attend?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Just let me know what it is. Just, I got one request.
Go ahead.
You can come by with the flying castle, because I really want to see that thing again.
We can pick you up. How's that sound?
To
That
be
sounds
honest,
awesome.
it's being held on the Flying Castle, so you'll be able to see it up close.
Yo, I'm gonna get to be on the flying castle?
Yes.
Yo, peace talks or not, I'm showing up, man. Give me a time and date, we can hash it out, it'll be great.
We'll be in
So much
touch
better
when
than
we
the other
have
one.
established that.
So he kind of goes to give you each like a high five, like hey, and his hand claps through each of yours as it hits sand. Ah shit. Oh well. We'll give a high five when you guys meet there. Hang 10, have a good day, and he pieces out and he like flies off into the ocean.
Love him.
Goodness me.
Rosalind looks at her hand and kind of turns it as if in high five position and like, I'm not sure about that.
He's wonderful.
So those are the two Archdruids of the North.
Yeah, way better than the other one. The other one's an asshole. Anyways.
I swear, I don't know which is which, but one of them seeps either like stuck upness or laid backness off the other.
Fair.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
So we have
It's
those.
a balance through a dichotomy as opposed to a scale.
Mhm.
So we have the swamp, the desert, the dreams, the Isles, the Archipelagos, So who do we still have left?
Technically not the Isles, it's the Arctic. That one's called.
Okay, sorry, the Arctic.
The Arctic and the coast. You guys already have the Desert Druid. You have the Moon, the Forest, and the Underdark left.
I like to imagine there's a moment where we show up like at ourselves.
Oh, that'd be funny.
There's just pillars of sand are beside ourselves, but at the other druid, it's just like, oh.
Tiny dream glitch.
Yep, basically.
System has failed.
Echo.
Yeah, well, that'd be a fun, a feign interference. Alright, I'll be right back. 1 second.
Okay.
Feign feedback.
I'll be completely honest. That Archdruid, way better than the other one. Fuck that guy, he's a dick.
Yeah, I like how we go from like the last guy who goes like, maybe we should have killed all the Archdruids, to this guy who's like, maybe we should have killed only some of the Archdruids.
And I like how the desert dude is like, yeah, some of these Archdruids can be actual dicks, but you know, who gives a fuck? Anarchy. I love these two surfer bros. Also, this is going a lot smoother than I anticipated.
Oh my god. That would... I mean, it's a plan. I'm not sure it's necessarily the best plan, but it's a plan. Oh, man.
I mean, I love the fact that the parameters were all living Archdruids, so we can just look at that and go,
Alright.
I'd as well just get rid of them.
That's a technicality. Oh, God.
It's a type.
Terrified what was just said.
We only need the living Archdruids. Might as well.
Yeah.
In all honesty, Mr. Feather Up the Butts, requirements weren't too bad, all told.
Mr. Chicken on a stick up the butt.
Sorcery is getting on my nerves, but regardless...
The Archdruid of shish kebabs.
More like bitch kebab.
Bitch kebab! I love it. No, he shall be ever known as Mr. Rotisserie in my heart, but regardless, I understand his request, dislike his racism.
Yeah.
I'm not racist.
Controversial opinions.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to find the Moon Druid sheet. 1 second.
As
like,
they're
I'm not
breaking ground here, like, you know, I'm not a fan of the racism.
I'm not!
Forest.
So it's just like, yo, you know what? Gotta be honest. Not a fan of the racism here.
That's
Gotta say, all the slurs, not cool.
I don't like being called a mudworm, in all honesty. I'm a fire genasi, not an earth genasi. That you know of.
He's
Correct,
part
I'm
of the
the
world.
one.
He can say no one's ever told you that, and it's true.
Yeah, I never told you that.
No, not. I meant backstory wise. Okay, listen. In terms of like slurs, elemental based things that would be an insult towards an elemental race are very fucking funny to come up with.
Fair. Because it's
Weird
the thing
take,
of, like,
but fair.
Like, there's a fine line between, like, funny nicknames that the party might give you and, like, racial slur. Like, where does matchstick sit on there?
Good question, to be fair.
It'd be funny if there's like a genasi traveling with a group of people who are like, who basically give nicknames to the genasi, and the genasi's like, yeah, those are slurs, but I'm too uncomfortable and awkward to say anything, so I haven't been saying anything. And then one day they go home to meet the genasi's family. The party calls them that, and they're like, what the fuck?
How dare! Alright, I found the sheet. Took me a second, sorry. So there's like three Archdruids that have a very similar name. I like the, at least title, not name, but... so, you guys appear once more in Peduncle, actually. And you actually appear on the ground, whereas you're watching something intense happen. There seems to be some sort of preparation going on, where surrounding the Phoenix Egg, a ritual is occurring. The leader of which seems to be this massive form of... You're not quite sure? Each of you go ahead and roll me a nature or animal handling check.
What are you doing to my Phoenix.
And Ashta?
Ashta's in there.
Oh, sorry.
We're,
Purvis.
we're missing Fervus.
Nope.
John?
John?
Rayla.
John, you're muted.
John gone. John
Oh,
gone.
well. That's okay. Xenia and Esther rolled enough. Actually, technically, Ashton would have had advantage, so he would have a 20. So, you are looking at this strange combination of what looks to be a massive wolf wreathed in flames and probably 20 feet tall. And it's sitting at the base of the egg, chanting some sort of spell. Anyone with Arcana proficiency recognizes it as basically a ward. It's to protect the land around this area. Xenia, you would know that most moon druids can't, but that archdruids tend to break those rules, especially moon archdruids.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go, John.
Sorry, I just had to step out for a second. I forgot to put the BRB in.
Ah, that's okay. It was just like the 1 second when to go turn you, and I'm like, hello? Oh, he did. Okay.
John gone. John gone.
Oh, it's
That's okay. And as you watch, as the spell kind of finishes, you see the wolf take its paw in its hand and bite into it deeply, and its blood flows out of the little bite mark. And it's this golden flame that droops from it and starts pooling at the base of the egg, and with a flash you see these almost ethereal chains of ice wrap around it. And the wolf turns to you with small, almost reminiscent of a hellhound, where it's just these deep flames that you could look into forever, like the most terrifying thing of a campfire. And as you watched, they kind of shift and slowly morph, smaller and smaller, until they stand in front of you, just a young wood elf of seemingly female. Well, it's kind of difficult to tell, as with many wood elves. She looks up to you and says, "I take it that..." She can cock right to the side and say, "Ah, I was just sent word by the shepherd. So, nice to meet you. You were here for the peace talk conversation?"
We are.
Well, if the shepherd's on board, I'm on board.
What are you doing to the egg?
Oh, nothing. I'm just making it such that when the shrapnel of the egg explodes outwards, it does not collapse any of my men.
Understood. Have you spoken to him?
Of a sort. We have a speedy form of communication through the Fae. The Fae once served the old Archdruid, and they seem to have taken a liking to us, too. And you can see, kind of out of the corner of your eye, what looks to be a quickling with a small, like, stone. What you guys recognize as a sending stone being flown off. So long as his conditions are met, mine will be as well. Is this acceptable?
Very well. We're glad to hear it.
Good. Now, hopefully the Phoenix does not destroy too much this time. I think these spells will work better than the last. I must pay attention to that for now. I apologize. Did you see her turn back around?
Xenia said something in the chat
Oh, sorry.
a second ago.
Didn't see it. She smiles at you, Xenia, and says, "Thank you. It's quite more fire resistant than the average mammal. But as I said, I must engage." And you see as she shifts into the form of a fire elemental myrmidon and rises into the air as the first cracks in the egg shows. And with a blast of outwards force, your sand piles are dissipated.
Turn to glass.
Basically. Pillar of salt. No.
No, I like to imagine there's like very accurate glass statues of us just kind of standing in peduncle now.
Esther and Xenia doing finger guns.
Hey.
Alright. Next, you come upon in which you would recognize Rosalind and most of you as one of the Patchwork Forests. This one is known as the Forest of the Dark. The foliage and cover is extremely dense that most light can't actually get through. As well, it's rumored to have a number of connections to either the Shadowfell or the Underdark, accessible through here, whether through portals or through other things. It does border the Rose Forest, where the original I can't remember what they're called, but the little beasties were from.
Yes, the Meanlocks. Yeah.
Minlocks, thank you.
I was expecting you to say like where the original shit went down.
Yeah, basically. But you come across a strange sight of a furbolg, kind of resting with their stomach and chest pressed against a stump on the ground. Looking at the stump, first of all, this furbolg is shirtless, and their back is covered in these long, deep, like scars and scratches. And looking down at the stump, it seems to not be a flat one. It's twisted and spiraling, and guessing from the slight blood on it, as well as the arched back of the furbolg, seems to be stabbing through his stomach.
Ah.
His eyes are closed, and you see these trails of tears weeping down his face.
Oh, is he?
Are you all right? What's happening?
His eyes open, and they're this beautiful silver. And he looks to
Okay.
you, and he stands up, and as he does so, you hear and see this gaping open wound of this massive stump pierced through his stomach. And he looks up to you and says, "Sorry, I don't recognize you."
No, we haven't met, but is there anything we can do to help?
Healing?
No, this is penance, I suppose you can call it. This is a ritual of mine. How can I help you?
Well, if you're good to talk,
And
and
you see him nod and solemnly place a hand on the wound in his stomach, and it begins to knit itself back together.
we're inquiring about peace talks with the current Zodiac debacle among all
Nice.
Archdruids, hosted at
Nice.
the Flying Castle. You probably have seen at some point.
Yes, the
It's neutral ground.
Glimmer of Illusion has spoken to me about this. I've been told it's my duty to attend, as it concerns the ending of the Zodiac conflict. This is the one you speak of?
Nods.
I will attend. I will represent the forests and do my duty for the sake of these people.
Right.
Is there anything I can do to assist these talks? Any way I may be of servitude?
I was just kind of like glancing at the like hole in the chest and knitting back together, and just would you perhaps be willing to be on secondary duty for healing should things go poorly for some reason or another?
It is one of my greater skills. I can have that arranged. I'll prepare the appropriate spells, scrolls, potions, tinctures. I'll speak to my physicians, and I'll have potions that mitigate death and see through illusions. Will this be alright? Is there any more I can do?
That'd be more than helpful. I think that's for the most part. You wouldn't happen to know any powerful druids, powerful clerics that would be good fits for that similar position as well, would you?
Let me look through his connections. Hold on. Yeah, sand in a chest wound doesn't feel very good.
That's why
It's rough in its course and it gets everywhere.
What? It gets all in the tissues.
Of course you hate sand.
You don't want sand in your bone marrow, that's for sure.
Yeah, good source of iron.
Ever.
Earth Genasi.
Alright. He kind of shakes his head. He says, I know powerful clerics, many of them greater people than I do believe that other Archdruids would know better. I'm very sorry.
No, it's...
And yes, if there are materials, I'll make sure I subsist. If you can supply the clerics, what I can do is I can bring additional gem dust and diamonds for them to use, such that they don't have to use their own sources.
Xenia feigns and Ashta feigns back to Xenia. It's like, that one could be. That one's interesting. We'll see.
I'm pretty sure that was brought up and was off the table. I am pretty sure.
Did Orzer mention that?
He doesn't want.
Orzer said that he didn't think it'd be a good idea.
Okay.
But I want him there.
Fair enough.
We'll find another one.
Yep, but he'll just nod and go, no, that'd be very helpful.
I will do as I can. Unfortunately, I do not believe that the Glimmer of Illusion will be able to join, but I will act in her stead and be in communication with her.
I keep hearing Charlie in the background and it's making me laugh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Asha looks around and is like, I'm sorry, is there some sort of like fae flying around here or something? I hear giggling.
There are a few, and he raises his hands, actually. And you do see a number of redcaps sitting in the trees. He says they always come when I perform a rituals.
They enjoy the brutality.
Of a sort. They seem to take joy in it.
Could I think about to say the same thing? With you being there for the talks and us not being very well acquainted, what is the nature of all this?
Of which, sorry, I don't understand.
You inciting penance on yourself.
It's complex, but as a short answer, my ancestors and many of my tribe have been great sources of negative impact, both on this plane of this land and of a number of wars in which I now stand on the other side of and oppose morally. So as penance of the sins of my past and the past of my ancestors, I perform my penance. I am a servant, as an Archdruid. I serve the land and I serve the people. This is one of the ways in which I do so.
You mutilating yourself causes no service to others.
He smiles and says, if it was simply that, then that would be true. But, well, he takes one of the palms of his hands out and he cuts the palm open. And as the blood drips to the ground, you see wildflowers begin to bloom from it. These beautiful, rich, and Rosalind, which you would recognize as incredibly rare and endangered flowers. We are a strange family. We have the blood of giants in our veins, and we also have gained this strength by sapping the life force of this planet. So I aim to give it back whenever I'm capable.
Well, hopefully we can stop any more damage with the ending of this war.
Hopefully. Hopefully it'll be a good step in the right direction.
If there's not anything else you would have of us, anything to make your journey there easier.
As I said, I am a servant of the land and its necessities. If there is a duty of mine that I can be of help with, I know he kind of nods to the Archdruids. Not all Archdruids see their position the way I do. I am happy to be of assistance and offer as much time as I can towards it, as it is my duty.
But do you need a lift to the castle? Or can you make it there your own?
I wouldn't want to get in the way. I will find my own way.
We're giving him a fucking lift.
When we send word, make your way to Anther.
Very well. I take it that the Duke will be expecting me?
Someone certainly will.
I will be there. If there is nothing else I can do to assist this. And you see him, and yeah, there's a bunch of big trees in the castle. you see him kind of reach into the base of his wrist almost, and he pulls a little bit, and you see nothing actually breaks the skin, but the form of two bone white sickles appear in his hand. As the red caps around him start to giggle, and he turns to face them, the sand drops to the ground. And finally, we reach. Yeah, you won't be able to cast spells, unfortunately, right now, Xenia. We reach the Archdruid of the Underdark.
Ooh. Please, can you imagine if it's the fucking poetry drow?
That would be hilarious, I would say.
I would have fucking choked.
Kill on sight.
He was going in the fucking
Hi,
sunlight.
can we rip all the moisture out of his body with these sand forms?
Does anyone speak Undercommon?
Xenia.
Xenia does.
Xenia
Perfect.
does.
So Xenia, in this case, your Fane basically automatically translates to everyone what's being said here. As you rise as sand pillars from the ground, in the middle of what seems to be some sort of negotiation between the Underdark Archdruid, who is a ghostly-looking halfling, which many of you recognize as a ghastly halfling. Milk-white skin, kind of looks like Frodo crossed with Schmeagol. Like with the same complexion, the almost dead white hair, but much fluffier, like Frodo had. Kind of that look.
Vampire
And
Frodo.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's actually really the way to do it. Frodo. Frodo practices voodoo. No. You see him in this midway through this like hissing argument of these like hard consonants and like drawn out S's. As it gets translated in your head, he's having this fervent discussion about the prices of certain foods being brought down into the Underdark, and how because they didn't like the prices, they were attacking the caravans and stealing the food from themselves, and how he's finally caught them in that trap. And as the sand pillars rise from the ground and fully coalesce, he looks to you, then just sighs, and you see him cast a spell with his hands, and the ones he was speaking to all freeze in place, completely still. And he turns to you and says, "Can I help you?" "Oh, Archdruids. Nice to see you. What?" "I'm busy."
Apologies for the intrusion. We will make this brief.
Please
We are
do.
arranging peace talks with the Zodiacs, or at least those of them that would be amenable to such. We have received agreements with requirements to meet from the various other Archdruids. We need to know if you would be able to attend, if we were able to give you a time and date, and
Yes.
if there would be anything that you would require of us first. And then she'll
Is the General's Inquisitor supposed to be there?
Yes. The General at the very least. The Inquisitor is invited to assess defenses and ensure that the neutral grounds are well prepared for any eventualities.
If the Inquisitor plans to be at the talks themselves, I will not be appearing. That is my only requirement.
We will request the Inquisitor not to be at the talks. He wasn't planned to be part of them. He will simply be assessing the area beforehand.
Good. That's all I ask. Anything else?
I believe not. It is upon the floating island in the sky. I'm not sure if you've heard of it or seen it.
I'll figure it out the rest of the Archdruids. Give me a date, send me a message when I need to. If not, talk to me through... I heard something about folks like you running through the Underdark and killing the Necromancer Glimmer. Whoever brought you to the Glimmer, send it through him.
We'll find a way to get in touch.
Good. Right. And he waves his hand, and actually, you see the Archdruid, the two with you, kind of jolt back as his spell gets ended for him.
Okay.
And so, with that, you guys appear once more with the agreement of, conditionally, every Archdruid of Peduncle that is still alive.
Ariel, did you write their conditions down?
Yes.
Oh, thank fuck. It's like, I know one of us had to have been, and I really hope it was you.
If not, I would have gone through the recording and I would have given it to you guys as a list.
Oh, I've got them all.
Good.
Okay.
Right. When you have a second, put through the stuff to remember, but no rush for it.
Yep.
Alright, and you see the two Archdruids kind of goddammit, kind of blink themselves back to reality in the hut that you guys have been resting in, as it is just past sunset. Not too dark yet, and the festivities of the end of the night have begun outside. And they look at you, and
Everyone blinks too and coughs up sand.
yep, most of you do have a bit of grit in your throat. It's not actually there, but it feels like it is because your throat for a while was made of sand to all of your senses. It's one of those lasting feelings like after you eat something slimy kind of thing.
Well, that could have gone worse.
Same, that's not that big of a deal.
I hate that Arakakra.
Yeah, he can be a dick, but, well, he's the only reason that the rebels haven't taken over Lentiel, Fluss, and Panasium, so. Not to mention Kakouine. He is effective.
I'm paternally predisposed to disliking him.
As many are. Don't worry. You will not be blamed for such thing. But,
Because he's
it crossed his
effective.
hands. No more bad vibes. Is that everything you need from me?
Yes, I suppose.
That's more than enough.
Alright, sweet. Alright, and he grabs the dream druid. I'm gonna
Hyperion,
go dance.
should I contact Issa for you?
He kind of smiles and says, nah, she's busy. I tried to invite her out tonight. I'm gonna see her at the dance tomorrow, but that's it.
Very well.
Tomorrow.
And in the meantime, Rosalind's going to very quickly feign Issa the memory, little, like, clip and soundbite of this desert archdruid referring to him, calling him Little Hippie. Just in case it's a laugh.
You just get this. Oh, he's never living that down. Thank you.
You're
You have
welcome.
one free pass for the next time I have to approach you with Astra.
Thank you.
She basically sent you like a kissy emoji through the fan.
I just imagine like a ding ha, and there's a little coupon that floats
basically.
down from the heavens out into Rosalind's hand.
It's Rosalind in character's version of inspiration.
Mhm.
Easeration. Anyways. So they go to head out and they go to enjoy the festivities. And in that brief moment of quiet, Rayla kind of sticks her head out of the pocket and just goes, "Hey guys.
Yes.
So I have a thing I wanted to mention."
Did you do it?
Should
This
you
is
have
a
mentioned it a
wonderful-
long time ago?
This is a wonderful tone of voice to start with. Please continue.
Yeah.
I need you all to promise you're not going to get mad. And that's where we're going to take a quick 5-minute break.
A slow hand wraps around the fairy.
So we'll take a quick 5 minutes. Anyone needs to grab a drink of water, please do so, as you guys have successfully negotiated with the druids. And now the part of the session that I was messaging about earlier will be occurring.
Yeah.
Oh, the fun part?
The fun part.
Oh dear.
Okay.
I feel like fun is
That's
subjective here.
No,
It's definitely subjective.
first of all, name for me one time fun isn't subjective. Go ahead. Please tell me an objective fun situation.
Also, to be completely understandable, it's kind of impressive that we managed to get through that in an hour only, really.
Yeah.
Knowing this group, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
I'm learning how to handle that with you guys.
When a good
No, no, no,
percentage
no,
of their
more
responses
so-
was "K cool."
Yeah,
Yeah,
Most
pretty
druids
much.
want peace. They just can't go talk to the Zodiacs for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't like the Arakakra guy because he's racist as fuck, and I don't like him.
No one likes Chicken Little. It's okay.
He's a coward, and I'm
He's
not
a coward. I'm a coward. I want apples, so we're gonna cut some apples.
Please do. So we'll start at 25 on the hour, okay?
Sugar, you can't lick the door handle, dumbass. That's not food. Ah, I swear, she's got about 2 brains. If she was human, she'd be like the epitome of like that one blonde in the Mean Girls that has like no idea what the fuck is going on ever.
That is the perfect setup to dunk on anyone right now.
Oh, that's my dog. That's who I was talking to.
No, I know that, but you just saying that, you could easily say, "Oh, you mean," and put a person's name in just a hard dunk on them right now. It is the perfect like setup for something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I'd get dunked on immediately.
I mean, you calling yourself out just kind of...
To be fair,
Sugar!
if we were to physically dunk any of our characters, Fervus would be the
It'd be
easiest.
purpose. It'd be purpose.
Well,
It'd be
yeah, 'cause
highest
he's-
dunking.
Yes, because he would fit the basketball hoop.
Yes.
Well, yeah, Ashton without the armor, though.
No, I
No.
still think.
See, Ashton without the armor...
Lotus is scrawny.
Here's the thing, though, but, like, Ashton without the armor is the same level of, like, discomfort of a mental image as, like, a bear without its fur.
Yeah, but that doesn't make him like that doesn't make it so that you can dunk him into a literal basketball.
To be fair, if you had a small bear and it was shaved, it would be vaguely basketball shaped.
I know, I've seen it. Have y'all never seen a shaved bear?
I have, and I hate it.
Yes, but thank you. No.
I hate it.
No, please.
There was a lady. Did you ever see there was a lady? She thought it was a dog, and she adopted this dog, and turns out it was just a possum that has like been really fluffed up.
Yep.
So it looked like a fucking. Oh fuck! Me too, yo. That's me if I ever put on makeup.
A lady who tried to adopt Russian bear hunting hounds and just adopted 2 baby black bears.
It's me. I desire to adopt bears one day.
That's just a D&D one shot.
I was just gonna say I'd just go to a gay club, but adopt bears, man.
No, I got the joke.
I know. I'm just repeating it for maybe the audience didn't get it.
For the audacity.
For the audacity. You cannot have my apples. They have fucking skin on them, and you don't like the skin because every time I give you an apple with the skin on it, you go bleh and drop it on the floor, and then I have to clean it up. So it's not happening.
All right. So.
No.
Everyone's ready.
You know what? Yeah, go ahead. I don't need my sheet. We're good.
That's such an insane phrase out of context. I don't know.
I'm in agreement. It's fine.
No,
Time having already?
I'm cutting apples. Just bear with me here.
I don't need my feet.
Bear with me.
There was that one guy who was raising money to chop his own feet off.
Yeah, no.
That's a sentence and a half.
That's enough of that.
Yes.
That's something I would say during a session.
Here, you may have. Here, break up this apple slice for the baby. There
If
you
it makes it better, it was a giant middle finger to like the American healthcare system.
I love you, Mom.
Love you guys, Mom.
Connor, too! Mom says okay and love you.
Ouch.
Oh, sorry. I just screamed through a door. My apologies.
It's alright.
Among other things.
Among us. Sorry. Anyways, I want to play the hide and seek, though.
I know. Anyways, for
That's funner.
so
Anyway, back to the thing.
as you guys kind of look all around Rayla, she goes, I need you all to promise that you're not going to get mad.
A hand goes around the fairy.
No, you need to promise. I'm not telling you. I'll try to solve it myself if you don't say you promise.
I'm just making sure you can't run away as soon as you say it.
We both knew you couldn't stop me if I tried.
Because there's one thing about getting mad, there's another about holding you responsible.
You do.
Look, I just need you to know I only bring this up because I think for the sake of everyone, it would be better if you guys knew and tried to help as opposed to if I tried to do it on myself.
No.
But, do you want the short version or the long version?
You tell us what you did.
The short version or the long version?
Short version first, long version if necessary.
Short version? Okay. I have a bunch of giant bears living in the forest of the castle who I think are going through withdrawal for accidental fey drugs that I made.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay, now further explain.
Yeah, that's why I asked. So, okay. First of all, I was trying to do a good thing. My logic was sound. I just didn't see this coming. No, I wasn't trying to make fey
We're
drugs.
we're not gonna start on that one. You're just gonna tell us what you did.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Anyways, so I was talking to a bunch of the treants that live in the forest, the primeval forest up in the castle.
You'll have to introduce us at some point.
They're kind of boring, but yeah, they're cool. And they mentioned that these bushes grow, that the berries, when they're ripe, are a good anti-venom for the giant snakes. And I thought, cool, I'm gonna check them out. And I got told that like a lot of the animals eat it as a way to, not die from snake venom. Makes sense. That's how a lot of them are resistant to the snake venom. So I cast a couple phase spells that are meant to help with parasites and the like to help the berries grow, so that if someone needed it at the castle, I could bring it to them. Right?
Okay.
What I didn't know is that the bears eat the unripe berries too, because the unripe berries have a minor poisonous effect similar to that of the snake venom, and it helps them build immunity. And I thought, okay, not a big deal. The bears have more immunity. That can't be a bad thing, right? What I didn't know is it also got kind of high, and when I used my Fey magic, all the bushes got more potent with all the stuff that comes out because they're healthier, right? And now a bunch of the bears are just going around eating all the unripe berries and getting high off their mind off of them, and walking around basically having hallucinations, and it's not a great time. So I figured, you know what? Simple, I'll undo the magic. Not a big deal. Well, a bunch of the bears started going through withdrawal, and when they go through withdrawal, they turn kind of feral. They start attacking snakes because they think they're immune. And I don't know how to make this not a problem anymore because the bears started conversing with each other, and because they liked getting high so much, they started telling each other how to get high. And most of the bears in the forest get high off of the drugs, and the rest are going through withdrawal, and I don't know how to fix this.
So you didn't just make a bunch of drugs for bears, you then incited the bears into a bear drug ring.
No, I tried to help build anti-venom. I didn't know my Fey magic that they also ate the berries to get high.
And the result was?
The result was that the bears did what bears do, and they ate more of the stuff that they enjoyed eating. And then when I tried to stop making them eat it, they're going through withdrawal.
I adore you, but
over the course of a week, it happened very quickly. A lot of things were happening.
Rayla,
Fuck is
I
happening right now?
absolutely
I can't
adore
wait
you.
2 seconds, and y'all are.
To that end,
Rayla?
Purvis, I'm just gonna take Purvis to the side. Purvis, do you think you can concoct something that would work on bears and ease that?
And she wants to, like, no, see, here's the thing. I thought about that. Cool. I spoke to some of your alchemists, Fergus, and some of your inventors, Rosalind, and they built this little device that when the bears ate the berries, that it would give them, like, stomach aches, right? Well, the problem was that they basically started harassing other animals for the poop that had the berries in them. And, well, they started eating a bunch of other animals' poops, and it scared a lot of the animals, and sometimes when the animals were scared, it startled the bears because they were going through withdrawal effects and were kind of feral, and...
At this point, can you make an alchemy check to see if you can...
Go for it!
Yeah, and Asher goes, you see,
really quickly right now?
Bear
you-
detox.
you didn't
Rayla.
try this. You talked to Fervus's people, you didn't talk to Fervus. Fervus is substantially more well thought out on this
Guys,
stuff.
we're in the middle of so many bigger problems.
There's so many bigger problems right now that it's not really...
I feel like this is a snowball effect.
Yes.
It definitely is. That's why I'm coming to you now when I can't push the snowball into a snow castle anymore. I don't know how
Yeah?
snow works.
Rayla, I
Yes.
adore you, but you have started the equivalent of an opium epidemic in a healthcare system.
Why have you
Yes, and it's
done
with
this?
30-foot tall bears.
You just killed them all.
Because that would completely disrupt the natural ecosystem, and I really don't think the Firebirds...
Yeah, there's a flick on the temple from Ashta to Esther.
Esther, you can't just do that.
You can't just commit bear
Bears.
genocide because they took a bunch of drugs.
Yeah.
Then,
Yeah.
why are you giving bears drugs?
I wasn't trying to. I was just trying to help you guys in case someone got bit by
You
snakes.
and then
Rayla.
the grip squeezes slightly. You see, this
Or
is the
then-
thing. This is not us getting mad. This is us holding you responsible for what ended up happening because of your actions,
and
and
I
you're
completely-
deflecting it.
And I completely understand, but can we at least acknowledge that I wasn't trying to do a bad thing? This wasn't even a prank. I was talking with
Oh.
Simone the whole time.
You have lost the privilege of having that acknowledged, and since it's gotten to this point,
I
Rayla,
don't think I have.
once
Rayla?
things
No,
are fixed,
Asta,
Rayla,
she
I
has
appreciate-
attempted to do something good.
I appreciate the thought that went into the beginning of this, and the effort. It was
It's
well
nice.
placed and well meant. But perhaps you should have come to us with this far sooner.
To be fair, it's only been a week since it started. I went up the hierarchy very quickly.
Mm. Well,
You could have contacted us on day 3.
Okay,
and I
yes.
really think you should have the situation fully fixed before you go asking us for the appreciation of it.
We'll see if I could fix the situation. I would, but I figured you wouldn't want me trying to do that on my own anymore.
Yes,
I'm
and now
honest,
we
you
That's
and
not
now
the
we
point.
now we have to fix the situation, and after that, and maybe after we see some positives at the end, then we'll
Look,
give you the full
technically,
appreciation for it.
You don't have to fix the situation. I would just really appreciate your input on what I could do to fix the situation.
We live here
because
as much as you.
Yes, and the bears aren't a problem to the people yet, just the other wildlife. And look, my main problem right now is every time I try to add some deterrent to the berries, they harass some other animal for it. But if I try to take the berries away from them completely, they harass the animals more. But if I just leave them to keep getting high off it, we have a bunch of drugged up bears walking around.
Have you talked to the bears?
To give a second opinion.
You can just leave them be drugged?
I mean,
No. No,
probably not a good idea because they're drugged and immune to poison, which is what most anything is able to use to take them down. So they're these kind of juggernauts of like muscle and anger, and nothing can kill them in the forest.
So go say you're 0 for 2 so far.
We're not.
Kill the bears and drug the bears are not exactly your hottest
We're
takes.
not conscripting a bear army. We're not doing that.
I mean, we could just decapitate the alpha.
We're not conscripting drugged up bears.
Sir, you're 0 for 3.
Take the alpha and wave his head on a stick, and that will intimidate the rest of them.
I
0
don't
for 3.
believe that's how bears work.
I don't know.
Seriously, I don't mind the idea of a pen because we have, a bunch of stonemasons and dwarves and all that, and I believe that it could actually help. The problem is I had no way to make that a thing without talking to you first, so I figured I'd talk to you first anyways.
Then could we commission a stronghold for the bears then?
A bear's stronghold.
I mean, they do have this big underground cave that a lot of them gather to, but again, a bunch of them are really high down there right now.
Bear detoxification needs to
How
happen, not just
How
bear
indulgent are these
containment.
bears?
Yes.
Not too much more intelligent than the average bear.
Yeah, could Fervus make a nature check to give a second opinion?
Go for it.
Oh, fuck.
Can Ashta help with his knowledge of bears?
Yeah, I'll say I should give the help action there.
Yeah.
You're plus 12 to nature.
23.
Oh,
I have a plus 12, yeah.
Intelligence.
Christ. I forgot about that, but my god.
Yeah.
My god.
I rolled an 11 on that.
I know. It's horrifying. You rolled a 1 out of 13.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know that there are a couple ways you could encourage a detox in bears. If you're treating it like people, and to be fair, bears, what's it called? Gastrointestinal system is very similar to humans and humanoids. But you do know that the time in which bears do the most detoxing is during hibernation.
Yeah. So if we're going to encourage a detox, then we'd have to probably jumpstart a hibernation period if we're going to do this now.
Could we do a mini hibernation? What season is it in?
We
Rayla
are
kinda sticks
coming
up her
out
fingers.
of winter.
And just goes, I have a question.
We just got into spring. Their hibernation recently ended. They will not be
Oh.
prepared for a hibernation. They have not fed
No.
up for it yet.
Could we
They would die.
We
Would
just
we be able to simulate a mini hibernation that would last maybe 2-3 weeks?
Hey, Fergus,
Yeah.
question.
Okay.
Do you think you can make a gaseous form of your catnap potions that is much stronger and lasts a bit longer than an hour?
He pulls out his notebook and starts writing a few things down.
I roll an alchemy check.
Oh, an alchemy check.
Yep, go ahead and roll an alchemy check.
29.
You could very easily do that.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah. Yeah, that could simulate a hibernation period. Then we could put in detox. It would last maybe 2-3 weeks.
gassing the drug bears.
Well, Ashta,
Yes.
Ashta,
Yes.
Fervus, this seems
Encourage
like
detox.
something in your combined areas of expertise. Xenia,
This feels like something I'm responsible for because I brought this fairy here.
Detox. But
You're stuck with me.
There's a squeeze and a squeaky toy noise.
Yep.
Xenia,
I
how
assume
long
that
would
you
you
could help?
say would you say a mini hibernation period is enough for that it wouldn't be any harm to the bear?
You know that technically the catnap potions accelerate the sleep metabolic system by 8 times. So if it would be for 2 months to 4 months that they would hibernate, cut that by an eighth would be what the standard formula is. If you made it stronger, you could theoretically accelerate it even quicker.
Mm-hmm.
They would just wake up very hungry is the only problem.
As also
So
a note,
we need a stockpile of food that won't drug them, Rayla.
Look,
And,
I was just trying to
You're past defending yourself.
The bears get high off
we need
it.
to encourage the detox by having them go through this hibernation period. So we need to know how long the detox would take, so I can calibrate the gas, which is made up from the potion, to have them go through that period at an accelerated rate of time, and possibly accelerate the rate of the detox.
Those were a lot of words that I think I understood some of.
Don't suppose you could try to infuse some sort of like poison cure into the gas too, just as a side effect additive.
Yeah. I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
He's like currently like still scribbling into his notebook, just like.
So that's one part of the problem. The second part is how do we?
Oh, please go on.
How are we supposed to cast a bunch of bears?
You said that they like to be in a cave?
That's where they all retire to, but they don't all go at the same time.
That's all right. I'm pretty sure that we could do it in waves.
Yeah. So, who is going to help me encourage all these drugged up bears to try to have a normal sleep schedule? Because I don't think that's something that I can do on my own.
Not it.
I can confer ideas to animals.
I think
that sounds super useful, Xenia. That would be a wonder, because if anything happens to me, I'm very easy to kill. She does like finger guns towards you.
There's another squeaky toy noise.
If you keep squeezing me, it's gonna happen anyways.
Here, and I'm gonna reach over and try to pry Rayla out between Ashta's fingers.
She's trying to help you. Go roll a strength check, I guess.
I'm doing it very gently, but okay.
This is against Ashta.
Yeah.
Yeah, Asher just like looks at what Rosalind's doing. He's like, "What are you doing?"
I'm making sure that you don't do something that you will regret.
I have dealt with this fairy for years, in less sober states than this.
We could put the detoxification agent in the food.
No, see, again, I tried that. They just started eating the poop from the deers.
Ah, yeah, that's true. Anyway.
Well,
Let's
then, in
check.
that case, the
Running
squeaking
simulations
is
in his
making
head.
me sad.
Okay, so incorporate the detoxification agent into the potion.
That's why I thought by gas, because they can't really like try to ignore the gas if it's already in their sleeping place.
Asher will loosen the grip at least.
He's really taking a deep breath, like almost like expecting not to be able to take another.
But I'm not letting go of this one, because she will be here. Because her going off on her own makes bears high.
Look, I was
Rayla, you are so far past defending
I was
yourself right now.
being supervised by Simone and a bunch of ancient treants. I thought it was fine.
You are so past defending yourself right now.
The
bear, you can't undrug the bears, Rayla.
I am actively trying to undrug the bears.
I'm actively trying to undrug the bears.
In all
And
honesty,
I
though,
don't get drugs, so I'm not sure you guys are the people to come to, but you're my best option.
You can't
we
put
at
the
least
bear drugs
acknowledge-
back in the paper bag.
And I'm...
can we at least acknowledge the fact that she did try to do something good?
Oh,
Again, I feel like
really-
that acknowledgement is deserved after the problem is solved.
I freely and openly
Let's wear out of
acknowledge
the
it.
woods.
Xenia's smiling. I'm assuming that they're gonna acknowledge me too. Xenia did fade drugs with me, okay? I assume Xenia's on my side here.
Winners don't do drugs.
Well, okay, that's fine, but you guys are winning, and I got Xenia to do drugs.
Drugs. You might want to hear about one of the ceremonies that's going to occur later on in the week.
I don't think it's safe for me to respond to that right now.
Oh,
She is
dear,
right.
Oh dear, oh dear.
So, who wants to help me corral a bunch of primeval bears into a cave?
All honesty, this does not sound like it's particularly in my skill set.
In that case, who wants to help me convince the treants to do so?
Treants,
That sounds
I will
like
talk
it's in
to.
your.
That might be in your wheelhouse.
They also did say they wanted to meet you at some point, but they specify that that just means the next 100 years, so not to be in a rush. So I figured to wait till after the war, but now works too.
No,
think
definitely
they'd
works. I would be interested in meeting some treants.
They may not. They may not want me there.
No, they definitely want you there. They live with firebirds. They're okay with fire.
Also, forest fires are a natural part of the cycle, especially if any of them have pine cones.
Yeah.
Just
Actually, that's a fun thing to note. A lot of the baby treants, their seeds, they can only be born after an old tree dies, and they find fire a sacred
Yes,
part
yes,
of rebirth.
beautiful. 4 or 5. Anyway.
Besides Esther, you're currently the only one of us that has spoken to any sort of, I believe you're the only one of us that's spoken to any sort of very powerful elemental being, though these are perhaps not powerful nor elemental. I feel like they are of
Of
some
the
sort of
land.
similarity. Of the land,
Yeah.
yes. So, if you'd like to come with me and converse with treants.
Oh yeah, Xena, they were pretty cool with that. They prefer you don't light things on fire, but like they're not gonna kill you for doing so.
Xenia, are you wanting to talk to the trees or the bears?
I think it's more
'Cause
effective to start with the trees. I'm gonna be honest.
Because I know you can do both.
You could do both, but should we start with trees after Fergus? Well, how long do you need to make the potions?
Well, DM, how long would it take me to make this kind of potion?
Considering you rolled a 29, half an hour.
Half an hour?
All you basically need to do is distill it,
Mhm.
slightly increase some of the sedative parts of the formula,
And
And-
apply the detoxification agent.
and not even apply the detoxification agent, but you could just throw another like basically antitoxin potion into part of it. They don't not interact,
Yeah,
and then
fair
just basically create a type of potion that turns into steam rather than turns into a liquid.
Yeah.
All of that would take no time at all. You have all those components on hand.
Yeah.
So you can take half an hour, like where you're sitting, or even on the platform as you guys, I assume, go
Yeah,
up
he
to the
just,
castle.
he just starts pulling stuff out of his like bag of holdings, like need this. It's uncorking shit and just
You know, the kind of thing you do in transit. You read a book, you watch the horizon go by, you make bear drug smog.
Yeah,
It's bear detoxification smog.
it's bear chloroform with what's the thing they put in toothpaste? Starts with F.
formaldehyde.
Fluorine?
No. Fluoride. Formaldehyde is what they preserve bodies with, John.
Yeah, nah.
would not fucking brush your teeth
It
with
starts
that.
with F. I was like, formaldehyde?
That's what I was gonna say too, but as soon as I said, I'm like, no, that sounds wrong.
No,
Yeah,
that's
fluoride.
probably not it.
Yeah, this is basically chloroform with fluoride. Basically. For bears.
Mega bears.
Yeah. Oh yeah, ancient 30-foot tall bears, yeah.
Bears.
Who were all high off of LSD by accident.
Why did you do that?
Yeah, they're
Yep, 30
huge!
feet with Ed.
Yep. So, I'm gonna need more.
Forest. Bears.
Bear with it.
Ty, fuck off.
Ty, if you don't have inspiration, fucking take it.
Yeah. Fucking take your inspiration and get it.
God damn it. That was really good. Okay. So, first gonna be one more alchemy check. At this point, I'm gonna let Xenia start stacking inspiration.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah,
24. Yeah, it takes
Roll
you.
the
It takes you like 35 minutes. It was a bit longer than you expected.
I just had to account for volume.
Yeah, basically. But you get there, and Rayla starts to guide you through the forest, which, after sunset, is terrifying. I would like to note the sounds of these massive creatures who have like chest cavities the size of dragons. The hoots of owls echo through the trees. You can hear the sound of thousands of scales of snakes as they slither past you, like these trains passing you in the night. It's uncomfortable. But at no point do you feel unsafe. There's this sense of calm and order where animals generally leave you alone here unless you wish to contact them, as it kind of always has been with this forest, for the most part. That's why the
Except that
insects
one
and the
time.
spiders and the snakes were such oddities. I mean, go ahead and roll me a perception check, Esther.
If she could attempt to reach out with her own magic.
Okay, fair enough. Go ahead, in that case, give me an Arcana check. Okay. You put like a sensory field for evocative magic that often attunes itself to the elements, such as flames, lightning. You don't really sense any. The forest has never really been part of that, except for the closest thing was the firebirds. It's more of this ancient magic. These creatures that are older than your current understanding. Elk that are easily the size of the larger trees in the Roselian forest. Antlers reaching 50, 60 feet in the air. It's never been about elements. It's been about this age. This unfettered. Yeah, you guys could have stopped the castle. This unfettered growth that nothing really opposed. Yeah, that's fine, Argo.
Thank you.
But as Rayla guides you deeper into the forest, into this large grove where the moonlight radiates out from the center as it has just this opening. And it's full of massive herbivores. And you can see faces in the trees, all facing inwards. The smallest of the trees probably is 400 to 500 feet tall. Easily wide enough that the stump diameter is probably 60 feet. This is a source of magic that rivals even the most powerful of Archdruids. And you can feel it humming through the earth here. You can feel it welcoming you all as well, through just this impression as the trees rustle happily at your presence. And the largest of the trees, diameter so wide, it's the size of a longship. You could hollow out a massive ship from this thing and still have way too much wood to spare. Its face opens to you, eyes these massive knots in the trees, and its mouth this pleasant old smile with these beard of vines wrapping around it. In a voice of a deep resonance that I can't even hope to reach. It turns to you all and it welcomes you. It says, you are the lieutenants of our friend the Firebirds, yes?
We are.
Well,
And it is an honor to meet you.
as it is to meet you, we welcome you to our forest, as we hope has been ascertained by your continued presence in it, and the bounty and growth that has come from it. I take it by your little guiding fairy here that you are here about the bushes.
Yes. We were informed that there was a little bit of well-meant tampering that nonetheless had some repercussions, unlooked for
Yes,
and unwanted.
though not unexpected by us, though we understand that we failed to communicate this to our friend the fairy here. It is almost expected that the magic of Fae in a powerful forest brings about chaos. The forest can handle it, but I'm sure you'd rather solve those problems sooner than later.
Yes, we'd rather it didn't, or the creatures in it didn't suffer unduly due to these mistakes.
Well,
In,
such is the way of their building, but what is it that you wish?
we have something of a plan. And she'll gesture Fervus forward.
Yeah.
Though, in addition, as a means of preventing anything like this in the future, but also perhaps taking and making some good of the initial plan, are there any of those bushes, young, hardy, able to be removed from the forest and given a place to grow outside of it, beyond the reach of the bears, that I would be allowed to take?
I think we could arrange that. I think many of the plants here would be happy to be transplanted in the castle itself. The earth sings of the tears of the firebirds that grow crops for you. I think they'd be happy to be among friends.
Then after this is done, I'd be glad to take some.
Please do, young gardener. You have the smell of an ancient forest to you as well. It's a good smell. Peaceful one. So, do you ask of the treants? Or are you simply informing us?
I am asking. If there were any that did not wish to leave the forest, or would be better off not doing so, then I would not have taken. But I
My
did come
apologies.
prepared in case there were.
I misunderstood misspoke. For your plan to help the bears, is there anything you need from us?
Purvis.
And do you see the train actually drop a branch down to you for us to step onto?
Yep. And he'll step onto it, I guess.
Yep, and he draws you up to his face, and it's dizzying, as it was hard to kind of get the scale looking at the base of such a massive tree.
Okay. Okay.
You see its mouth open up to you, and,
Hi.
well, what can we do to assist in the detampering of our bears?
Well, and he'll explain the potion and it and try and workshop ideas on how to if there's any way to spread the gas more efficiently.
Corral the bears.
Yeah, corral the bears. Yeah, mainly.
Yeah, they kind of smile, and then you are a maker of tinctures. Yes? This is simply an herbal tincture?
Yes.
Interesting. We don't see those very often. Closest we get to pheromones. But I believe we could convince our intoxicated residents towards the cave you have described.
Ursa gigantus. Yes.
Yes. Is that the label you wish to give them?
Ursa Mondo Gigantus.
Well, I believe we can do so. I presume you wish to do this before the next hibernation, yes?
Yeah.
Oh, did you want this done tonight?
Preferably, yes, as soon as possible.
Sorry. It's quite quick. I'm not sure how much we can do on such a short time scale, but we have our ways. And all around you, you hear the sounds of the forest rustling to life, like someone's shaking a snow globe. All the herbivores in this kind of clearing don't move. They seem completely unperturbed by this. And one of which in particular catches your attention, Xenia and Ashta, as well as Rosalind, actually. It's this deer. Silver antlers, and it's kind of like mottled white spots along its back. Huge, of course. But it's resting at the base of one of the trees, kind of very quietly, not asleep, but very much at ease, as a few baby, still 10 foot tall, deer suckle at its teeth. You sense this magic coming from it almost. Arlo, I apologize that I used the wrong one there. It's
No.
the whole horse conversation all over again.
No, it's okay. I just have trivia. It's awesome, and I want to share it because I got reminded of it, but that's for later.
Okay, fair enough. The deer actually looks to you, Xenia, and just kind of... it actually smiles at you, which on a deer's face is really weird. And you see it actually speak in a very high feminine voice. God damn it, biggest chungus.
Didn't want to say it out loud because I know.
It's very... Oh, I'm sorry, that's hilarious.
Versus Big Chungus being the distinction I'd like to make between the other bears, between other subspecies of bears.
The deer looks to you, Xenia, and just says, "Beloved of Corlon, welcome."
Real quick, is that Faye?
Go ahead and roll an insight check.
Advantage of Faye.
If it's Fey, you will have the +5 added to it.
Alright.
As this is happening, just know that Rosalind's face looking at the deer is probably equivalent to her face looking at Ashta's little puppy when it's being particularly playful and cute. And it's just
Very fair.
that I love this.
Yep. The deer smiles and says, "You may. I know of you, but I am I'm one of the spirits of the forest. You could these," and she nods to my children. "Are my wards, as their health represents the health of the forest, and they are such good growing young ones." No, you have it, Mark. The snakes do what they must to survive. They don't. They're far more territorial than myself. But I suppose that's a factor of timescale. Please approach me. You have the bones of Fae, and that is never a bad thing to have in this forest. You as well, Lady of the Roses. So as you approach this deer, the closer you get, she just gets taller and taller and taller and taller. By the time you're halfway to her feet, easily she's larger than the largest castle, the biggest city. By the time you reach actually at the base of her feet, she towers larger than the Tree of Isolde. Rosalind, if you do the same thing occurs to you.
Yeah.
You can't even comprehend the scale of this creature. And she smiles down upon you, and you don't hear her voice so much as your bones sing with the timbre of her intent.
Wow.
And she looks at you, and you are a beautiful addition to this forest. I hope you intend to stay a part of our cycle, given time, as the ancient creatures here remember the blessings of elves in our land and how much it improves our lives. Will you be my ward, Xenia? And Rosalind, though your lifespan is shorter, will you serve the forest as well?
I
Maybe where Xenia is a happy gardener, you can be our ambassador.
I may be able to do so, though it seems that I am being called to a larger number of forests and places than I would have ever thought.
You have bones that sing with the harmony of flowers. Though many discount their usefulness, flowers are a beautiful addition that only serve to improve our lives. And Xenia, our lifespan is longer than even you can comprehend. Whatever assistance you may offer, you and your children will be safe here. As this applies to all of you, but a colony of elves is a great thing for any force. So as you respect us, we will respect you. So I ask, when your bones have settled, where will you choose to rest? Will your grave be in another forest, Rosalind? The one you call home?
I am uncertain.
Such is the uncertainty of the young. Please do remember, living the lives of power that you do, it is not unusual for your bones to rest sooner than expected. Having plans in place, it's an assurance for you, your soul, and for those who could benefit from the legacy you leave behind. But you need not decide tonight. As with the trees, we live a lifespan that is patient. And Xenia has hope to be a ward. Will you be willing to prove your worthiness with a small assignment? Then attempt to lift one of my children. Please. As she kind of moves one of her front legs to reveal this one of the smallest of the deers resting on her stomach. It's this strange orange auric, almost, if gold could rust, it would be this color. And it sits smaller than the rest. And it looks up to Xenia with these big fawn eyes. Very cute. Whatever is strength that would be offered to this forest, you can offer now. You can use to assist you in whatever benefits you may need. Please do.
Yep.
All right.
Fucking fantastic.
Alright.
Xenia turns into a T-Rex.
Yay!
Oh my god.
And now, Xenia, I ask you, with your tiny little arms, how do you pick up the deer?
Yeah, honey. You kind of picked the wrong fucking dinosaur. I mean, you could use your tail,
Oh no.
potentially, as a muscle.
Fine control though.
Yeah, but we don't know what the fat composition on a dinosaur truly was, so the tails could be very thin and slender, because we do not know.
As a counter-argument, the head of the T-Rex is so large, it would need something to counterbalance.
Or perhaps they walked on all fours.
Tiny little arms? It's possible, but unlikely.
You never
Okay.
know.
Well, it's my game and I'm DMing, so I will say that I do. So you can attempt to lift this deer with your T-Rex feet.
With your
What is
feet.
the dexterity modifier of a T-Rex? You can use it's not technically a. Yes, you have to try to balance a baby deer on your T-Rex feet. It's a dexterity.
Don't drop it.
Fair enough.
I think we need Amazing Plan playing for this.
You make a valid point.
Also, I like how the tree is like, so when you fucking die, can I have your bones?
I've got no
Oh
idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ancient
There's-
spirits of the forest are big on life cycles.
The thing
Yes,
with
which is
Rosalind, there's like 4 different options depending, and I've got no idea
I
where
mean,
she
you
would
have a lot
want
of
to go.
bones.
Mm,
Yeah,
I don't think
you can
she's
use them
gonna
all.
go for dismemberment.
Air barrels.
I will shoot
Fully
a GM.
expects to die on a battlefield.
Yeah, I had the same progression of just like, oh, cool T-Rex. Wait a second, how the fuck?
Yeah, you can use your mulligan die.
Allow me to lightly pick you up with these razor blades.
Can we imagine that there starts to be the face shape change, and Xenia goes from a glowing outline of themselves to a glowing outline of a T-Rex, and there's a pause before it solidifies, and then shoop back
That's
down.
pretty much what I'm imagining. Yeah, you could turn it into a cord. Yeah, that makes sense.
That way we all have that moment, the same moment as Xenia, to go, oh, that'll work. No, wait, the arms.
Yeah. There's this collective one of, not so sure about that one, Chief.
There's just like quick fan over for multiple people. Just like, you sure? You really sure?
Basically.
Just like arms, Xenia, the arms.
Okay, and now
You
Xenia.
can't pick up a deer with broadswords.
I mean, technically you can if you're very careful. What ability modifier would you like to use to try to lift this deer? Stonk. Okay. Go ahead and roll me a strength check using the cord's strength modifier.
Oh.
24. All right. So with the hair, you very gently wrap it around, almost like a nest, around this deer. And for a moment, it whines as it's being pulled away from the teats that it's drinking from. But as you pull it up, it kind of just happily relaxes into your hair of the cord. And as it slowly lifts up in this like slight rocking motion, it just falls asleep, making these soft little cooing sounds, almost like snores. The deer once more gazes upon you with a very... even more, as you begin to sing a small lullaby in Sylvan. The rest of the deer, actually sitting at the teats, begin to slowly fall asleep as well. And as the mother deer smiles, you see her rest her head on the ground and close her eyes with a happy little hum, seemingly also very sleepy.
Do I need to roll anything to memorize and remember this lullaby?
No, I'd say between the Fane, your natural musicality, and your general fascination with what's happening, you're fine.
Alright, that's stored away for the future.
Yep. And as you see, as the lullaby continues, that the deer all eventually fall asleep, including the mother, with a final breath of what seems almost like starlight, it washes over you. And it's soothing. So, you can go ahead and, to your inventory, or boons, or whatever you'd like to add it as, you can add Boon of the Primeval Forest. While in this forest, you basically have all of the... that's okay. You basically have all of the benefits of a ranger traveling with you, even when you're traveling alone. And no creature will attack you unless provoked. Additionally, once a day, you can speak to any one creature in the forest free of cost. So, as the rest of you watch, I assume at least in vague fascination of this occurring. By the way, from your perspective, everyone who didn't walk up to the deer, Ralston and Xenia look like... it's a big deer, but like, they're not crazy big compared to Ralston and Xenia. And as the forest begins to settle down from the shuddering of leaves and the shaking of the ground, the treant turns to you, Fergus, and says, "Your request is complete. Would you like guidance to the nest of the bears?"
Yeah, that would be nice. Seeing as this is my first time in this forest. Yeah, let's do it.
Will your companions be joining you?
He looks towards everyone else.
At the very least, I'd like to look for those plants.
Yeah, okay.
You guys can wait a few minutes for the lullaby to finish.
Yeah.
Sure, let's go.
Yep.
Let's do it.
So, as you guys watch as the deer, massive, falls asleep and fades into starlight, and this constellation remains as the constellation is to the sky. These white flower petals grow from the dirt and in the grass in the shape of a deer. A separate small one grows where you eventually put down the fawn. And as this happens, and the treants open up their trunk into a doorway, you guys are welcomed to step through and be transported to where you need to be in the forest. We'll take another quick 2-minute break.
Cool.
I'll admit, Esther is not comfy in this forest.
Mhm.
But also, hi, what the fuck?
Awesome. I love it. I love it so much. Yes.
Druid is just very funny because T-Rex. Ah, fuck. Wait.
What is strong? What is strong? Ah, big and strong. No, the arms. Little strong, little strong. With hands. Yeah. Well, if some of it's in the personality, then yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a thing. Trying to make those decisions. Yep. Say, Esther, if you'd like to learn a little lullaby in Sylvan to put Jade to sleep, I'm pretty sure Rosalind can teach you.
He has no concept of Sylvan.
Doesn't matter. All you have to do is learn the syllables, the sounds. You don't
She
have to
wouldn't
understand
think-
it.
She wouldn't think about it, but if you ask, she would take you up on that offer.
Well, Rosalind's
I don't know if
probably
this
gonna...
is in character or not.
Rosalind
It's
will
up to you.
ask at some point, maybe even on the walk there if there's some time. Just, even if it's off screen, it'll be there.
That's true.
Ooh.
Technically, Z have access to pretty much the entire library of Elven lullabies,
Mhm.
just through the fame and through your clericness.
Mm-hmm. Ah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, at the end of that, we'll note if everyone's back. John, you back? Devin, you back?
Yep.
Gian, you are muted if you are talking, by the way.
Yeah?
Good to go?
Good.
Alright. So, let me turn off the shits and giggles post. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna turn off the shits and giggles post.
Yeah, probably.
There you go. That's true. So, as you step through the doorway of the treant, you take just a few steps in darkness, and on the other side appear out in the foliage of tree cover. So dark, but dim, basically. Dim light. And you do see the mouth of a yawning cavern in front of you, as well as hear a number of very interesting sounds coming out of it that definitely sound like what you'd imagine a bunch of high bears would sound like. And the treant's face appears in the tree that you just stepped out of. And this is the lair of the primeval bears. I'm sorry. Ursus gigantus? I believe you called it.
There were many names.
But only one was said in character. Please, what you can do to assist them in their plight, we welcome it. So, as you guys look into the cave front, you can see shifting shadows. You can see and definitely hear sounds of massive creatures stumbling around in the dark, bumping into things, growling at each other. Almost what you'd expect an angry monkey's nest to sound like.
Nervous? Do you
Yep.
just need to throw it in?
Suppose we need to get a good concentrate. Just need to find a good concentration of them, and then center mass.
Yeah. The Treant informs you that, if not all, at least a good majority of the adult bears are inside that cave. They've basically been startled off using the Treant's connection to the rest of the forest.
Great, and he will lob a potion in there,
I can,
Molotov cocktail style.
I can do one thing that might help. Can we see
Okay.
anything in there?
Not really. You can see vague shapes and shadows, but they're past all of your dark vision.
Alright. Past my dark vision.
Do you have a limit to your dark vision or no?
I have 120 feet.
You might be able to see the outline of one bear in the front, maybe.
Okay, then it's beyond the help that I would be able to give, because that's a 60-foot range.
Okay.
Are there plants growing around the cave entrance?
Oh, absolutely. This
Alright.
forest is ripe with them.
Okay, I am going to look at that, look at Purvis, and go, I can lock the vapors in, perhaps. At least most of them.
Yeah, that could work.
Whenever you're ready, let me know and I'll do plant growth concentrated
Alright.
here.
3,
Mhm.
2, 1, and go.
And Furvis, roll a yeet check.
A yeet check. What
A
kind of
yeet check?
was that?
Just like a throw bomb check.
Throw bomb check? Alright, cool.
Go ahead and
Nice.
take a plus 1d4 on top of that.
Yeah.
It's an natural 20 though.
Oh my
I know.
god.
I want to see the total. Because
Just
it's not
because
technically an
it's
attack roll. I just want to see what the number was.
1d4.
35. 35.
Good God.
Oh my god. Alright. I'm doing plant growth specifically around the entrance of the cave, and I'm hoping to basically weave and net the plants together to not really seal off the entrance. I imagine Bear could tear through it, but close it off such that anything inside is probably not going to go through it immediately.
And sealed off in an airflow sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not fully,
Okay.
but just enough that if any gas escapes this way, it won't be a lot.
I could
Makes
also do move earth.
You could also do move earth, yeah.
We don't
We're
want to seal
trying-
them in entirely.
Yeah, we're not trying to cave them in. We're just. I think the point is the bears can get through it easy enough.
Yeah.
When they're done, when they're awake. But if you
Yeah,
want to move,
and-
if you want to move Earth a little bit in order to get the
and,
plants
we'll
into
leave,
better contact, I'll do
yeah.
that.
And they're just gonna be really hungry when they get out, right?
Yes.
So just leave. So like one of us at some point leave a stockpile of food.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was going
Food
to say
that is
that would be
ideally
fantastic.
not laced with fey drugs. Rayla, thank you.
Makes
Uh,
sense.
After like rolls his deck, I'll go foraging.
Thank
Everything
you.
is huge here.
Yeah.
I'll
Fine,
come along
fine.
with you, mostly because
Yeah.
I need to find those
And
plants.
so that catnip potion should simulate a detoxification and short hibernation period for about 3 days. That's reasonable, right?
Good.
By the
yeah.
way, Furvis, you can add Ursine Hibernation to your potion list.
Nice.
Catnap.
So, in the meantime, let's have a charisma check from Rosalind and an intelligence check from Esther for the synergized spell.
Okay, I am casting something? Alright.
Yeah, just to assist with the plant growth.
Oh, that's
Okay,
not a good roll.
What am I doing? Intelligence?
Yep, intelligence check.
Nice.
13 and 17. Reasonable. So Esther does a pretty solid job about shifting the earth in such a way that the plants don't have to reach as far. You don't have to rely as many creeping plants to get to the bottom. you're not sure you make the best use of it, as you're not familiar with a lot of the plants here and their best way of growing, which are strongest. But the combination is still more useful than either would have been alone.
Mhm. As a further upside, perhaps this way we won't have various predators getting in there and attacking the bears as they hibernate. I don't imagine that's a enormous problem, but
Early
still.
days, it won't be too big of a problem, but it's ideal.
Thank you, Esther.
All right. Job done?
Unless we come across more, and more enter the cave later.
And the treant behind you just says, you mentioned something about food.
Yes, that as well.
Yeah, they're gonna come out quite hungry, because it's a simulated hibernation period. So about maybe a month's worth of food.
What do these bears eat? Berries, obviously.
Berries, roots, other animals. They found some giant honey combs that they seem to take quite the pleasure in. But they're a pretty wide consumer.
Well, shall we go give a look?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Young
Yeah.
Flame, as the trait looks towards Esther, says, "Are you familiar with the white fire that the Firebirds use?" Esther?
Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, the trait says, "Are you familiar with the white flames that the Firebirds use?
I am.
Have you learned to produce one yet?
Excuse me?
Have you learned to produce the white fire of the Firebirds yourself?"
Capable of doing that.
I believe if anyone would be able to, it would be you.
I can.
Well, perhaps, just like you and young Rosalind right there, mixed your magic. What would happen if you two tried to do the same thing? Would you be able to try and produce this sort of flame for me?
Be worth a try.
Why do you want it?
Alright. And he basically guides you towards a fallen tree.
No, I said why.
Ah, sorry. I think the beginning of your sentences might be cutting off.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Why?
There is a certain cycle we've figured out with the Firebirds. Whenever one of their flames catches a tree, the dead and dying gather around it as a final send-off. If you want a vast source of food for these bears, this would be a good beacon for them to come and to willingly lay themselves down for it.
I don't think it'll work.
Why not?
My magic is destructive. It's not rebirthing.
You've recently acquired Phoenix Boon. I think that
Of
changes
the Lord
things.
of the Lord of the Destruction of Flames, Ashta?
May I say?
No.
May I point out, Esther? They're asking for destruction. They're not asking for rebirth.
And Xenia does bring up a point. It's not one that many like to acknowledge, but healing magic does come from an evoking sense. The only types that don't are the abjurers or the necromancers, when they bring the dead back to life or prevent death in the first place. But just as flames can be evoked, water can be summoned. Life is brought forth through magic. That's how clerics function. That is what the Firebirds use. They as well can summon a destructive flame. They simply have more practice doing otherwise. But I will not force you to do anything you do not wish, young Esther.
long as you're aware of what might happen.
The treants are a very familiar species with ending forest fires that get out of hand.
I'm helping you
Especially-
anyways.
Yes. But
Of course.
we learned very quickly living next to the Firebirds that we need to have solutions for those problems. So,
Alright.
please, with your combined strength, as they gesture towards the log. And go ahead and Esther, roll me a mom check, actually, because it has the exact modifier I would have asked of you.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
Ash, go ahead and give me a wisdom check with proficiency, as well as advantage.
All right. He's gonna burn a radiant soul and attune to fire.
Okay? They'll give you an extra bonus to it.
And sorry, wisdom proficiency advantage.
Yep.
Anything else I can throw on this? Would doing a guardian of nature help this?
It
Giant,
might.
great tree.
It might.
All right.
You're more so channeling the life energy, so there's a lot of things you could argue would help.
Yep. All right. Guardian of nature.
So
And-
it'll affect the DC, but your roll is the same.
Yep. Do.
16. Alright. So, as at first, Esther, you produce just a.
Oh, Xenia Dance?
As you could have been, yeah, you guys would have had time for it. You guys can each take a 1d4 if you'd like.
17.
So, as you guys initially, Esther, you bring forth this powerful flame and you try to focus on the healing energy. It comes to you far more readily than you thought. It's not so much the flame of life, the white fire of the Firebirds. Instead, it's a cleansing flame. One that burns impurities away. Not quite white fire, but halfway through it.
Side note, am I remembering wrong, or does Esther also not just have an outright healing spell?
Does Esther have a healing spell? I forget.
I thought Esther just straight up had
It
heal.
does, but it's not white fire.
It's a similar thing. You're summoning the same kind of energy.
Yeah, and it's from the Phoenix, which is the closest thing you're getting.
Yeah.
It's not from the Phoenix.
Where's it from?
Was that from the Monarch? Or was that from just Esther?
No.
That's right.
And the
it's
Underdark.
That's right.
That's why I said it's not even close to white fire. That came from something out of a different form of magic almost. That's
Makes
why I
sense.
never associated it with it.
Like I said, it's not quite the white fire. It's a cleaning flame. It's a pure flame. One that burns without smoke type of thing. For Ash's part, all he really does is channel natural energy to it. The energy of the forest, kind of. It's less akin to a flame that he summons. It's more attuned to a what's it called? The warrior. God damn it, I forgot the name.
You know,
Planar Warrior?
Planar warrior. Yeah, thank you. It's closer to that planar warrior of pure energy of souls, almost.
Hmm.
And when the magics mix, it's at first this gray. And Esther, there's this moment of almost doubt that goes through you, as it's almost like burning flame, it looks like. But as you focus further, you hear a soft voice in the back of your mind, Monarch, in a familiar practice that she always ends each of your meditations with. You just hear her whisper that, I will be here. So please, channel life, Esther. Channel clarity. And for that brief moment, you dip almost into a meditative state. And the fire turns a bright, glowing white. Ashton, for your part, you feel exhausted afterwards. You were kind of just pouring energy into that, more so than anything else.
Mhm.
Almost like a flavor packet in a Kool-Aid. And as the log begins to glow white, a few minutes pass as you all just kind of watch this flame that doesn't spread. Did you ever give the plant to Esther yet?
Yeah, at the Oasis.
Okay.
I gave her the.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
that's right.
stepped,
Did I ever?
You stepped away.
Oh, that's a shame. I had a really good description for the plant. Okay.
Yeah, I left it open because I knew I had a suspicion that you might have had one.
Yep. Sorry, I didn't realize you'd already given it.
Sorry.
I'll go after Door. Perhaps even that's a place of focus for Esther. I can't quite say. But as about 10-15 minutes pass, this collection of old and aging animals begin to gather around the flame and kneel down in front of it, kind of similar to the that large deer in the clearing, seemingly at rest. And you all can almost sense when the life goes out of each of them as they fall into a endless sleep, just outside the den of the bears. As they do so, the white flame jumps to each of them and comes back looking a little bit brighter afterwards, as these creatures' bodies begin to softly glow with this protective aura. The tree says, "It is done. They will not decompose nor age anymore. They are left as offerings for the bears, hopefully as guidance and cleansing gift. Thank you, all of you. Normally, we simply allow nature to take its course when creatures make their mistakes. This is quite the interesting intervention that we got instead."
So there's just staring at the pile of corpses.
Yep. And they all look serene. They're at peace. These are all old creatures, it's easy to tell. And you feel a soft nudge against your leg as this young little golden speckled deer, which you saw Xenia sing to sleep earlier, nudges your calf and looks up to you with these big, like baby eyes, Esther.
Don't look at me like that.
And it makes this little, like, almost sheep sound as it kind of totters alongside you and, like, between your legs like a cat.
That's it, I'm leaving. Nope.
Oh, okay.
Alright. So, with that, you all are free to exit the forest, guided once more by Rayla and the treant. And you are welcome to return back to the gathering if you'd like. It isn't too late. That should be too out of the way by it. This only took a couple hours.
As they're walking, Ash is going to pull out the fairy.
Yep, she looks up at you just like, "See? Going to you guys was a good idea."
I acknowledge your good intentions. Thank you for coming to us.
You're very welcome. Thank you for making the bears no longer high and going through withdrawal.
Yeah, you just
What
back in the chest, please. He's just walking. How the hell did she keep a cap on all of this when she was dealing with me?
The past week, you guys have been handling so much shit. So, are you guys returning to the gathering for rest?
I'm going with Esther.
Yeah.
Esther just walks to the platform. She wants to go back.
All right.
Okay.
Rose is waiting there to take you back down.
Esther, I need to go and pot some plants in the castle. Would you like to come with me to find a suitable home for the one that I got you? Just briefly. Half an hour.
As long as it's not longer than that.
Come on. I'll show you how to take care of it. I got the entire care instruction when I bought it.
So,
I'll just briefly walk her through that and
Asha, in his little paranoid way, will ask a firebird to circle around them. Only because he's worried after the last time Esther and Rosalind went off on their own.
Makes sense. But really quick, I'll give the quick description of the flower. So it is known as the ash bloom flower. It's a strange one. The flower sits at the top of a very thin stem. It's a purple flower. You can find them in blue and shades along those lines. But the roots are incredibly thick, like ginger, almost. And when you got the care instructions, it's basically explained that most of what plants do is they absorb water through their roots and they absorb sunlight through their leaves. Obviously, a desert plant doesn't need this. It has an abundance of sunlight. So just the flower absorbs sunlight. Instead, this flower grows only in ashes or near flames, as it dries it out so much that it allows it to actually take water in because it's so dry, and then store it in its roots. Its roots, if you find them, are incredibly damp and filled with water. But because the stem is so dry, it almost sucks moisture out of the air. And because of that, when it gets enough water, it'll produce a single fruit. That only when it is burned will it blossom and become a new seed.
Esther just kind of listens as you go over the stuff about the plant.
Yeah, it's a well-known way that to make these plants absolutely go insane in terms of blooming and growing. Basically, just have a little bit of water in the air. Whenever you get the fruits, collect them and toss them in a fire. Once the fires die down, the seeds will be in the ashes in the perfect place for them to grow. Let them grow naturally. They will keep doing so, rinse and repeat. If you have a good care and an okay amount of humidity, or just a spray bottle with water, you can get hundreds of these within a season.
Okay.
When we do go into the castle, what room are we going towards?
I assume Esther's room, which could be an opportunity if we... Okay, did we have Esther's room stuff delivered up to the castle, or is it in bags
I
of
was
holding?
assuming so.
Alright, because some of that's probably big, so there's probably, like, packages and things up there.
Yeah, I was assuming that earlier today that was basically sent up to be assembled.
Okay. Just to find a little corner of the room to put the flower pot in.
And the room is under construction. The new bedding and everything looks good. They're still in the middle of constructing the new frame for the bed out of a much stronger material. As well as a table that's made of this inlaid carved stone using this golden obsidian accents. As well, they have created a small crib, if needed, as well as a small bed alongside of it. As well as a perch for Pierce.
I'll have to make sure that crib is fireproof.
It's made of stone.
Enchanted from the exterior. Fireproof.
The dwarves make sure that they'll get onto it. They basically let you know that firebird feathers that make a wonderful enchantment ingredient for that, so they'll happily do so.
She's not really saying much, she's just kind of thinking.
I think at this point, Rosalind will make the offer that was mentioned earlier of teaching her that lullaby for Jade.
So she just kind of nods. Sounds nice.
Your heart isn't in it right now.
No. I don't understand.
I can't promise that I do, but perhaps we can make sense of whatever it is together. What is it?
That I could never do anything on my own.
You've done many things on your own.
I couldn't even stay alive on my own.
Esther, I'm not sure any of us would be alive on this journey if not for all the others.
Do you ever think about what it would be like if you just didn't have magic?
Not terribly hard to imagine. That was the majority of my early life. The majority of my life up until quite recently, really. I suppose I would have stayed in Anther. I probably would have just done the same things I'd always done. Maybe learned to govern after my father. Maybe... Oh, that's a terrible thought. What if I hadn't gone on that journey with all of you? What if I hadn't learned all of that and met so many people? What if I had actually given Halkarim a chance and hadn't realized what he was like?
That's a disgusting thought, and I
It's
never
horrible.
want to imagine it.
Oh no, it's terrible, and I would hope that... I would hope in that eventuality I would have seen through him and refused him, and frankly he was off-putting at the start. But, terrible.
Wouldn't have.
Hmm.
You would have thought he was the epitome of your knight in shining armor. And you would have gone for it. And by the time you would have even realized something was wrong, you would have already been stuck. Sometimes those things happen. Sometimes we fall into traps. And it's only once the teeth close around our legs do we realize it's so deep in the bone that you can't get rid of it without causing yourself so much pain. Oh, that's depressing.
I haven't much experience with hunter's traps. Though I am given to understand that it's easier to get them off if you have another pair of hands.
It is. I just wish I'd seen his hands when they were extended. And I didn't have to pull it off myself. But I was a fool, and I continue to be so. We're all fools.
From time to time.
In almost everything, we know nothing of the grand scheme of everything. But
Well, we're learning, aren't we?
we are, and we're trying, but if I'm not enough, I won't be offended if you get rid of me. I'll understand. Just keep that in mind, okay?
If any of us ever thought you weren't enough, or thought to get rid of you, quite frankly, I believe we'd have another doppelganger on our hands. Esther, you are more than enough. I've always thought you were incredible. I've always been very impressed by the things you can do, and just the sheer amount of heart you have.
Time will tell. Now, no point in this. Let's go back down.
Yeah.
I need to teach you how to dance.
You taught me one dance already. Are there more?
Oh, there's many.
I'd love to learn.
Speaking of, you need to know how to dance tomorrow.
Is it something special?
It's the Moon Festival.
The dance, I mean.
Oh.
It's the dancing of the souls.
A very particular dance?
At midnight, when the moon is at its highest, the music will slow and it will be a dance specifically for couples.
What
Things that are said.
Okay.
Hmm?
I'm being
Go
misunderstood
ahead.
as a player. What she means is a particular dance, as in a waltz versus a tango.
Yes, it is a particular dance.
Particular steps. All right. Well, in that case, I think we'd better get Xenia involved. Also, Ashta and Sammy, if they need to know their parts.
It's definitely. It's a two-person dance.
Tell me,
And,
how long until Garel is able to join us down there?
Esther kind of tenses slightly at that. I don't know.
You would remember, I imagine, that she's counting the minutes. He's set to be done by the time the dances start, just a little bit before.
Well,
We'll see if he's done in time.
I hope so.
Me too.
I'd like to see it done by dear friends who are also very accustomed to the dance.
It'll be nice to actually have fun this time. Last time wasn't as nice.
Come on, let's go find something much nicer to do or talk about.
While they're walking, I suppose, to the platform, Esther will let Rosalind know that during this one particular dance that happens when the moon is at its highest, declarations and things that generally couples want to say to each other but haven't necessarily had the bravery or had the confidence to say usually come out around this. You will warn Rosalind of that because it is a dance that is very heavily implicated in the sense of love and unity and forgiveness and understanding.
Is it a magical sort of influence, or merely a traditional one?
There's a lot of symbology. There are flowers with very heavy symbolism, I suppose. It's
Oh, I would like to learn
more.
about those.
I could teach you. It depends.
I
Go
love
ahead and give me
flower
a nature check,
languages.
Rosalind.
Okay. You know 5.
You're doing your best to follow. A couple of the flowers you only recognize from romance novels. One of which you recognize as rumored to have aphrodisiac effects.
Bitch, which one?
We'll get there. Don't worry about it.
Oh no!
Yes.
You rolled a 5. You didn't know which one.
Yeah, no. I don't. Nope.
Well,
But wait a second. Esther's the one telling her about this. Does Esther know which one?
Nope. Because it's a very specific cultural thing.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not one that Genasi often acknowledged. This is a thing you find in cheesy romance novels.
Okay.
Esther's education of that has only begun.
Oh my god. No, it's an atmosphere thing, I suppose. It's not magic in the sense of it forces you to say things, but rather gives you the confidence to say things that perhaps anxiety and other emotions have been inhibiting you from saying. Such as the 3 dreaded words of power. If you catch my meaning.
Dreaded words of No,
I love
do not.
you.
Oh, is that all? I was trying to rack my brain for what sort of doom could possibly come in a festival dedicated.
I love you is a very powerful sentence in Genasi culture. Like I said, we don't get married. When a couple does get married, it is a very powerful ceremony, and it is celebrated for days. So the words "I love you" are, between a couple, almost the closest thing that they can have to marriage without saying that fuck.
God
Sorry.
damn it! You're just piling up the inspiration-worthy
Like, you're-
stuff
Oh my
right now,
God.
aren't
You're
you?
right, but that's hilarious.
That's great. ACL. Sorry.
ASL, not ACL. ACL is a limb, or part of your knee.
Age, consciousness, location. Anyways,
I think consciousness is assumed.
we don't know. We don't know what necromancers get up to, but it's
Christ. Moving on.
I completely lost track of where we were. It was the I love you and marriage and yes, Genasi.
I love you is basically the closest thing that a Genasi couple can tell each other without having the association of marriage. When you're married, you don't say I love you. You say I give my soul to you, or my soul is yours, or I give part to you. Because through soul bonding, you unite your two souls until death. It's a very powerful ceremony, and it isn't done often. I think in my lifetime, none has ever been performed yet. My mother has only ever seen one. So,
As you bring this up, you are passing by Garil in the courtyard. And at this point in his meditation, he is covered in sweat, rising off him in clouds of steam, with this intense look of concentration on his face, as well as a happy smile.
he's come to a revelation. Or perhaps him and Thoth had a fist fight and he won. I'm not sure.
Is Thoth one for fistfights? I wouldn't know.
I don't know, but he attempted to throw a book in thin air before, so I'm assuming at least he is. It's funny. I never thought I'd get a second chance.
I suppose that I would have a way of surprising.
No, you misunderstand. I've known Garil since we were children.
Ah.
He was the fourth addition to the Troublesome Trio. We did everything together. He was of my family, and I had the biggest crush on him for years. But I never thought I would be worthy of the affections of somebody who was so brilliant. So I suppressed it, and I hid it away, because that's where my feelings deserve to be. And then Oliver came in, and I thought I could fix him. He was angry and mal-tempered, and I thought maybe, just maybe, if I can help to calm him, he'll see that I'm worthy of love. Never do that. That is... Dependent love is one of the most destroying things that anybody can ever go through. And it did. And funny enough, there's a festival that occurs, not a festival, but a ceremony that occurs. It has to do with a herb found in the desert. It causes visions, almost hallucinations, intense self-reflection, and it was that ceremony that made me realize that I had been such a massive fool. But at that point, Guriel was gone. He was experiencing the world, and I was stuck in a relationship that I could not escape until I lost Jade. And then I had nothing left to lose. So, she freed me. In more ways than one. That's what I mean when I say I didn't think I would ever get a second chance with either of them. You have a good thing with Ashta. He, though emotionally stunted, and blunt, and sometimes obnoxious, he cares for you. Yeah, Ashta Lightwell's ears are burning. He cares for you in a way that I don't often see people care for them. So, take that and hold it as tight as you can, because that kind of pure affection does not come often. And I speak out of a place of experience. I don't know. I know you said you've never been truly in a relationship before, but this is one of the most positive ones I have ever seen. It's built on respect and trust and mutual understanding, and that are in all honesty, it's one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever had the opportunity to witness. So, if you feel those things, don't force them down like I did. Say them.
A little late on
Please.
that. I did make that attempt, but thankfully that's been cleared up.
What do you mean?
Oh. For the longest time, I thought that Ashta's care for me was simply that of a guard, bound by duty. Loyal and good, but ultimately just doing a job. Nothing special. And honestly, it's not any fault of his that I thought this. I just overcomplicated things for myself, I think. Didn't want to assume things for him. And I think that from what he said afterwards, he was doing what you did with Guriel. Thinking himself in
Unworthy?
some way, perhaps.
I understand Ashta in more ways than I think he'll ever know.
I can tell
I
you
was
this,
not a
though,
soul.
from that perspective, that shared likeness. I don't ever want him to think himself unworthy. And so, I would rather think that Guriel wouldn't wish you to think the same of yourself.
Unfortunately, sometimes what we desire can't change the thoughts of others, unless action is truly put into them. I don't know if he can hear me right now. If he can, that's embarrassing. Fuck. I didn't expect to admit all that, but if he can't, then good, because icky.
It would be enlightening.
Probably. And, well, I don't believe I've ever written any of this down, so Thoth wouldn't technically know, so we'll stick with that. But
No secret diaries as a... Oh no, I had a diary.
I'm sorry then, dear, but he knows. Then Thoth knows that. Anything that is written down, he knows.
Oh, I wrote terrible poetry at a time.
I wonder what I have to sacrifice to get my hands
please.
on that.
Please, what do I have to do that you will promise never to do so?
I don't think you could promise me anything that would stop me from potentially sacrificing something to get my hands on that. But there is another form of I love you. And it is said amongst family and friends, but again, it is something that is only really said among those who are incredibly close. There's a cadence about it that you can tell, at least in my culture, when it's from friends to family to loved ones. So, Rosalind, I love you. I love all of you. And I think without you, I would still be in a gutter somewhere. So thank you for giving me a second chance. Without you getting trapped in that tower, I wouldn't have one.
And in turn, I thank you for taking on that task all that time ago. And coming out to rescue me and any others who were trapped there. I'm glad
Esther's
it
gonna
led
pull
us all
Rosalind
together.
into a...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. She just said,
Go.
I'm glad it led us all together.
Esther's gonna pull Rosalind into a hug.
No hug is returned.
Right. Let's go dance.
Alright. So, as you make your way down back to the Festival of the Genasi, which, as a note, being in the air, descending down, and seeing all the dancing from a bird's eye view is unforgettable. There is a sense of emotion, of fervor, of unrelenting joy that you can see just in the streets. It's exciting. You can see the outer perimeter where the people not allowed into the festivals. Many are asleep. There are some torches and bonfires. People are talking, conversing. Maybe not with the equal level of energy, but seem to be in a good mood. Regardless of your place in the Genasi and whatever you hold, there's a certain thing about the sun being down, the light desert air chilling eventually, and forcing you to either stick by the fire or wrap yourself up or stick around people. It almost encourages this camaraderie. As you all dance and make fools of yourselves, as Esther teaches you all the traditional dances of Genasi, especially the ones that will be used tomorrow night at the festival. It's the kind of joyful fun that you're almost starting to get, maybe not used to, but familiar with over the past few days, despite the stress, despite the gravity of everything. And as the moon rises, people start to head to bed as it reaches 11, 11:30, sometime even 12 o'clock for some of you. You all head to bed. It's a restful night. Don't yet mark off a long rest. As check my notes first.
I feel fear.
You probably should.
No, what if you...
In the wee hours of the morning,
Oh no.
there's this echoing boom that goes through Genasi tribes. Not like a bomb, like you hear from Fervus, not like a fireball, but like the hammer on a gavel. That it would not even be actually early enough for Xenia, because if Xenia went to bed at midnight, it's about 3 o'clock for them. It's the sound of something magical being complete. And as you all rise out of bed quickly to your standard battle stations almost, standing in the doorway of the hut is this familiar silhouette. long, long fingers,
Oh no.
bare chest, the face of a skull. The bone claw stands in the doorway of the house. And that's where we're in for tonight.
No! No! Motherfucker, my whole family's inside that house!
Alright. Well, that's a happy
No!
note to end on, isn't it? Okay.
Clicks.
Till next time.
Well, next time.
Bye.